Yo, yo, yo.
Hey.
Finto.
What's happening, guys?
Oh, that sounds clean.
Basking in your voice.
Hello.
Shower it on me right now.
This is my real voice.
Oh, voice reveal.
What's
Oh,
up, guys?
yeah.
What's up? How are we?
He sounded so good.
Is it sounding good?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
sound good.
sound great.
I'm really looking forward to listening back, because like I was trying to test it with like the audio in my ears, and I couldn't really like hear it properly. But
Funny.
I'm
I looked over at your stream and I was like, yeah, but your audio sync is off. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm looking at the stream.
Imagine. What's up, guys? What's
Dude,
up?
I'm having a great day. It's beautiful out.
Yeah, that sucks about your haircut though. But hey, can't win them all.
Yeah, there was like a bunch of people ahead of me, and I was like, I could really like push the limit, but my hair is kind of long, and you know, then I'm gonna want to come home and shower, so I just said I'll do it in the morning. Fuke it.
I get you.
You
I
look
get
like a caveman, Kyle. It's not a bad look.
Listen,
it's COVID.
you should
It's COVID,
let
baby.
me get the beard. You should just if I let the beard go a little bit more, it goes from caveman to homeless like that.
Your home's a cave. It's fine. You're good.
Yeah, that is a good response.
Yo, FSP, what's up? Tio, how are you?
Pretty funny because like I'm getting to the point where it's starting to head up, so I need to start grooming it or cutting it.
Oh,
I got to that stage. Mine started kind of growing out and just getting
Yeah.
curly. So I was like, all right, I have to make a bit of a change.
It's that moment when you bite into like your favorite food and you're like,
Yeah,
like, what
yeah.
yeah. I used to be like eating stuff like yogurts or something, and you'd start getting a bit in your beard, and I was like, okay, this has to go away.
The
I go
worst
back
has
to the
been
year.
with all the masking going on and like
Yeah.
putting it on, and, like
So
it curls up
itchy.
in your
Yeah,
nose and stuff.
you
You're
have
like,
like, you know, you have
Yeah.
hat hair, you have mask beard, bro.
yeah.
Oh, bro, my
You're
Oh,
I'm-
where you get like the crimp right here and it like sticks out underneath it.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm like this, and I'm trying to like cover like just my mouth and nose, so keep the beard out. My girlfriend's always like, "You look ridiculous when we're walking around shops and stuff," but I'm just like,
Yes.
"You have no idea. Like, it's so itchy, you know."
like, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, oh,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Yo, Bronxy, what's up, dude?
Bronxy.
Bronxy.
Jump in the call,
Bronxy.
Bronxy. Jump in the call. I saw you watching Avengers the other night. Get in here.
Yeah, we need get in here, bro. I told him. He said, "Oh, I've been golfing too much." I said, "That sounds like an excuse." Actually, I didn't tell him that. I told him I've been playing frisbee golf. I tried to connect with him and bring him back in. You know,
Frisbee golf. That sounds amazing.
it's fun. It's a good time. It's more like you're pretty much hiking simultaneously with the courses that we have around here because I'm in Kentucky. So there's a lot of like uphills, down like gullies into culverts, and like super wooded and trees areas. So it's really fun because it's like a hike at the same time while you're doing something competitive. And last time I didn't wear sunscreen, and terrible idea.
How are the shoulders?
They're just now recovering. They're just now recovering. My secret is whenever you get a really bad sunburn, it sucks. But this is probably just stupid and completely wrong too. I'm not a doctor. But I take the hottest shower I can stand, which is the hottest my shower goes, and I let it hit directly. I pull all the heat out of it, bro. Because it just wants to radiate that heat, so you just
Yeah.
pull all the heat out of it, and I swear,
I think that's a
my
terrible
sunburns,
idea.
hey, they go away like in two. Like this is from last weekend, already going away. I'm chilling.
That does make sense what you're saying in a way. Like, it's kind of like you just break through the pain, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like official.
I
I hear
feel
like
like it
You're
is-
just
nat-
sponging off the nerves that are
natural
left.
Yeah.
natural
that
yogurt.
was
I
good.
hear is a good one. Like if you get like
Uh,
rub like
yeah.
kind of natural yogurt or something on it.
In Florida, we just hit the aloe vera, man. We got
Wait.
aloe vera plants, so you
Wait.
just like cut one off and you just like rub it down. Like,
Eat
it's awesome.
yogurt, or are you talking about spreading yogurt on yourself? Chill out.
Yeah.
What kinks are you into, Finto? Spreading yourself in yogurt, bro.
Hey, bro, I didn't
We
make
use
it.
aloe in America.
I didn't make it up. I'm just saying people do it. Like,
I know this sounds like really, really dumb, but mustard actually from the restaurant business, you would put mustard on it
Burns
if you got a burn.
on actual burns, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
that's
Soothes it.
crazy. That's
So
crazy.
You're supposed to not do anything too cold too fast, because if you do something immediately cold and you like it, like shocks it the opposite way. Same thing like in the winter. Whenever you're super cold, you're not supposed to be like scalding hot water to warm yourself up. You're supposed to slowly warm yourself up, because there's like it's in the cold to hot. There's a literal health thing that you can go through that'll like mess you up.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Again, I'm not a doctor.
This is
I
not
mean,
medical advice.
If anyone's a doctor here,
Not
it's
yet.
Dr. Inky.
Yeah, no, Mech says witch hazel and aloe vera and mustard and tomatoes works, or tomatoes.
What's witch hazel? Is that a plant?
I don't know.
Sounds like an evil plant.
It does.
It's gotta be
Yeah.
a plant.
It sounds evil.
Sounds like you're trying to get me into your cabin in the woods, Max. I smell your gumdrops. Come here, I got some witch hazel for you.
If you ever like cut yourself, like black pepper, like really makes it work, go back
Really?
together.
It coagulates.
This
Yeah,
sounds-
it makes it
closes it
coagulate.
up.
It don't feel good though.
No,
I don't know why
it
he's
does
saying that. So he's saying that real casual, like.
Yeah, like this sounds
Well,
like
you gotta get to a service, you know.
it sounds like we're making stuff up now.
Especially when it's that black pepper that's not like freshly ground, where it's like already kind of flaked. That processed pepper, that stuff. Ouch.
Like, you know, you're in a busy service. You cut your finger. You can't stop cooking. They need you on the line, so you put some black pepper in that thing. Wrap it up. You're good to go. No more bleeding. You're good, baby.
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah. So, is there anything we want to kind of discuss first, other than
Is there any news?
Kitchen injuries?
that you saw?
There's a bit of news, yeah. I suppose there's always. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, there's a little bit of
always a bit
Loki
news.
stuff
There's
creeping
a
out here and there.
there's a little Loki clip which I actually haven't seen yet, so it'll be my kind of
Did you hear
first react to it.
They
There's
changed
like-
one of the release dates to one of the untitled movies. They pushed it back
Two.
by I think a year.
Two of them.
Two of them.
Yeah.
Yep. I would say real quick, just in case anyone has seen any of it, because we probably can't talk a lot about it because there's, it's at a theme park. But the Avengers campus opened up at Disney. Did anyone see any of the clips from that thing?
I watched it. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't even heard about it.
Did you see the?
I haven't heard of them either.
There's a Spider-Man that like does like a massive flip.
Yeah.
It's a fucking robot, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Dude,
I thought it was
that thing
I thought it was a dude
that
on
thing-
wires.
is gonna leapfrog into a person and knock them the f out, bro.
That thing's
It's awesome, bro.
it's gonna become self-aware, and then we're gonna have an actual Spider-Man on the loose.
It's iRobot and it
This is what we
starts with
need.
Spider-Man.
This is what we need. And just from that, there's a Spider-Man ride out in like Disneyland, right? And so when you're on it, you can like just do your Spider-Man thing like this, and that's how you like defeat the enemies on the ride.
I heard about this. Yeah.
And this is
that's
what I
sick.
thought was the coolest fucking part about it. You can go to the merch shop afterwards and buy different bracelets, right? So you can buy like an electric one.
Yeah.
That like when you're Spider-Man, you're electrocuting them. There's like a Spider-Gwen one that does something, and then there's also like
Yo, Clint,
a
thank you
Iron
so
Man
much for
one
setting
that
this
you
up
put
for me,
on
dude.
and you can buy, and then you're doing like the repulsor move to like shoot people, like just
Yeah.
like that's
Crazy.
the craziest level of interaction,
Crazy.
and like oh man, that's fun.
This is kind of off topic, but whenever I hear Iron Man and Repulsor like in the same sentence, you ever seen that little clip where that kid drops his ice cream and it sounds like Iron Man's hand beams? It's
No.
so good. Oh, I'll have to find it. I'm gonna find it for Finto.
Do send it to me.
That was just a small one. With Anthony Mackie was there. I seen a clip of Paul Rudd there.
Paul Rudd was there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anthony
interesting
Mackie handed
how
over
Disney does
handed
that.
over the shield.
Yeah,
There's a massive focus as well on Spider-Man, which is kind of interesting because it's like there was like some sort of like back end deal with Sony going on, and they couldn't talk about a lot of stuff. And now that it's kind of whatever they were doing is kind of like sorted out. So now it's like Spider-Man everywhere. Like like they're putting him on the front of things. Like it's crazy.
yeah. I would say Spider-Man, like going into like the next phase, like if you're thinking about who's like going to be the leader of the Avenger, who's going to have the movies that impact him the most, it's probably going to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
As like the natural person bringing everyone together. Once he gets like probably one more movie under his belt, he's a little bit more mature. He's the natural leader of the Avenger. In the comic book, he leads them for a little bit. And they got everyone loves Spider-Man. That's probably why the park is focused so much on him, because he's going to be huge coming up.
Oh, 100%. And like the fact as well that they also have now launched all these other separate movies, which are like all the Spider-Man villains, like Kraven and the Venom and everything like that. Like there's so much now of the extended Marvel brand that's all focusing around Spider-Man. You've got obviously then as well the animated stuff as well, and there's that apparent new they launched, apparently they're saying that they're casting for a live action Spider-Man show, which is actually going to be on Amazon, but it's about Silk. It's a Silk show.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so again, I think all this stuff is kind of separate branches of like the Spider-Man tree or whatever however you want to think about it. And I think they're all going to start playing with each other because the guys in Sony have officially said that they do have plans to bring Tom Holland into the Sonyverse. So
I think that's why Spider-Man 3 is going to tie in the MCU to the Sonyverse so well that like everything becomes viable going forward. The next Venom could have Tom Holland in it. The next Venom movie, like I wouldn't be surprised if this Venom had an after credit scene with Tom Holland in it or something. You know, like they're really trying to merge that
easily. Yeah, 100%.
Well, and then speaking of Venom, I know that they've showcased Riot in the first movie, and then we have Carnage in the second movie. Do you think they're going to expand upon that, and we're going to get like Toxin and Poison?
I don't know, because I think Venom obviously is he's a pretty well-known character himself. Carnage would be less well-known, but still kind of out there. Like, me as being a pretty hardcore Spider-Man fan, I don't really know many more of the symbiotes after that. So, like, I don't know if that kind of sells to the public.
Yeah, I think about what
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
The only ones I remember in like video games and the Sega games were Venom and Carnage.
Yeah.
Like the other ones weren't really talked about. I think the most they might stretch is it into the symbiote god. I think they might do that, and then maybe you'd see like little cameos of the other ones if they touch on him.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only way we're going to even see anything outside of Carnage.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like having Null. And then I would also maybe think they could possibly extend into Anti-Venom, but that would probably be it.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the success of this next movie, like where they kind of go with it, if they want to go deeper, because you're going into lore that not a lot of people know about, so it's very dangerous ground for box office and that sort of thing, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And, you know, Venom 2, all these kind of like superhero movies kind of have like a natural trilogy arc that they all kind of just follow for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So I would say at most we get like Venom 3 out of that, and you know, it's going to be how confused are people about seeing Carnage, what the whole symbiote thing really is. Is it interesting to people? Like, I don't think it's that hard to understand, right? But it would actually be interesting to the audience at large, outside of like the nerdy people like us who are like, oh, all the symbiotes, like we love them. So I don't know, probably going to have a lot to do with Venom 2, how well received Carnage is in that, and you know,
even then I see them limited to like TV shows max, you know?
Right. Which would be fine.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Sure, like you'd fucking watch it in anime nearly, like, you know, like the old anime is so good. So like, you know, even if that went to an anime, I wouldn't mind. Now I'm pretty sure that I read that Tom Hardy is actually signed up for 2 more after this. So yeah, now
wait, 2 more after this.
Yes, so what that could mean though, that could mean you could do like a Venom 3 where it's one of the Spider-Men, he's teaming up maybe to take out Carnage or something. Like, I kind of have a feeling that Carnage is going to kick the shit out of him in this movie, and the movie's going to end with Carnage on top, and then I think you might have like a team up between Spider-Man and Venom to take out Carnage in the third one, and then it kind of just syncs up the universes together. And then you might have then maybe another appearance by Tom Hardy in an MCU film down the line, like Spider-Man 4 or Doctor Strange 2 or something like that. And then that could be his 4th appearance or 3rd appearance, whichever one comes first. So that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I know that with the design, they wanted to have Eddie Brock be kind of like a standalone character with Venom. But if they decide to introduce Spider-Man, do you think there's going to be a chance that it's going to transform and we're going to have like that original suit idea with the gigantic spider look on top of Venom?
See, I don't know, because like the original story of how it all happened was obviously the symbiote came in contact with Spider-Man first, and that's how Venom got his powers and stuff. So it seems like this movie universe is going a completely different direction with it. To me, it doesn't make any sense. That
the original run was a lot more accurate to the comic book,
unless they do a kind of Toby 3 kind of story with Tom Holland or something, where he gets in contact with it, like Tom Holland, for example, gets in contact with the symbiote, and then it ends up leaving him and going back to Eddie, and then he has Spider-Man powers and stuff. That'd be kind of cool.
All I'm saying is, I would pay for them not to bring back Eric Foreman, Eddie Brock.
Yeah,
That
oh no,
was
that's
some of
that
the
was so
worst
bad.
acting in all of superhero movies to date.
I think Topher Grace himself knows that was that bad, and he would.
Like,
I
it
think if he got
literally
the call, he'd be like, "No, sorry guys, I can't."
It
Yeah,
echoes
I'm
in my
good.
head right now. That one line where he's like, "If you know what I'm saying," and he has the dumb look on it. Like that echoes in my head to this day. How bad it was.
Yeah, it was
Like,
really bad.
oh.
I brought friends of mine to the cinema to see that, and they weren't really big like comic book fans. And one of them was just like, "Bro, I can't believe you brought us to see this bullshit film." And I was like, "I'm so sorry." I was like, "I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't know it was going to be this bad." Like, the first two were amazing. Believe me. Yeah, like it's. I don't know. Like the whole Venom thing is interesting. I wasn't really a big fan of the first movie. It was okay. Like it was. I've seen it once, and I think that's enough. I don't need to go back and watch it again. I'll just kind of watch the next one. I have a kind of personal interest in that movie doing really well because I have the first appearance of Carnage in comic book, which I bought in Kevin Smith's shop. So I was kind of like, fuck, I hope this movie does really good because it's going to go up in value, you know, it'll shoot up, like especially the fact that I bought it in what's the name of the shop? Jay and Silent Bob's The Secret Stash. Like the show, the part that was that was on the AMC show.
Yeah.
I went in and met like Zafkis, like one of the guys on the show. Like, so I was like, I'm here. I was like, I'm gonna buy a top shelf comic book, and I saw a first Carnage appearance, and I was like, I'm buying it. And then I saw the next two. Like the first one was like $100, and then like which was like 30 cents when it was first released. Like how much it's gone up in value is insane. And then
I think it really all rides on or go ahead. Sorry about that.
No. Yeah, go ahead. I know.
I was gonna say I think it really all rides on Tom growing into the Eddie Brock role because I think the only reason you haven't watched it that first more than that one time is because there wasn't a performance in that movie that you're like, I want to see that again. Like it just kind of felt like he kind of showed up. Like I don't know if anyone else got that vibe. Like maybe I know that's kind of like Tom Hardy's thing, but I don't know.
I think people know my opinion on Tom Hardy. I'm not really the biggest fan of him as an actor. Like I think he's okay. I think he's quite one dimensional. Like I'm watching Peaky Blinders at the moment, and it's like you can't tell the difference between his character in that and his character in the movie Legend. Like it's the same person. Like it's just whatever. It's just he plays an Englishman the exact same way. Like the kind of talks kind of like Bane, but with a Cockney accent, and then when he's an American, he sounds like exactly like the guy that he played in that MMA movie he was in. Like he just kind of sounds dumb, and then when he played Eddie Brock, he kind of sounded really dumb. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of it. I just thought you could have probably got a better Eddie Brock in there. I think they just put Tom in it because of who he is. Like,
well, and that's one of the things I wanted to discuss about that is like how big of a name should you put before it's too much, especially for a type of character that has a dual persona. So when I see Carnage and I see that he's being played by Woody Harrelson, Harrelson's like a big name. He's not huge, but he's a big name. Mm-hmm. And how much screen time are they going to give Woody Harrelson? Because obviously they paid for him.
Yeah.
And when you think about it with Cletus Cassidy and Carnage actually takes over because Cletus lets him.
Yeah.
And so how much screen time are... Oh, what was that, Kyle? I
was saying because he's a psychopath. I was agreeing with you.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah,
I love Cletus. Like he's such an amazing character.
But how much runtime are we going to have with Carnage then? Because
I think
they have Woody Harrelson. You think so?
A lot.
I think the challenge in these kind of things is what you get and what they did really good with the cartoons growing up and stuff like that is you have a lot of internal dialogue going on between the symbiote and the host. So as long as they can translate that well between Woody and Cletus and Carnage, then that's where it's gonna.
I'm pretty sure Cletus takes a back seat. Like he disappears. He's dormant, like in there, and it's just Carnage. Like
that's what I want.
Yeah, that's what I want as well. Like I want Woody Harrelson to disappear and it just be Carnage for an hour. I think the way the movie's probably going to go is you're going to get something like the whole like what we saw in the trailer. That's probably going to be the first 30 minutes or so. We're going to kind of warm back up to the character, see how much he's developed, see how his powers are going, and so on. And then it's like he'll get the call to go to the prison to see Cletus, and I'm very curious. Obviously, I don't know how he gets the symbiote in him. Again, I I can't even remember how it happened in like the cartoons or anything like that. It came from space as well, I presume.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're from space, so
Yeah.
I think they just kind of fell from space, bro. Like,
I loved the '94 Spider-Man cartoon. Like that's like my mecca for Spider-Man content. Like I love it so much, and I love the storyline of JJ's son was an astronaut and he went to space, and that his part of his mission was he was like on the moon or whatever, and he brought the symbiote back to Earth. Like, and then Spider-Man goes to rescue the crashed spaceship, and basically it attaches to him there. Like I was like, if they like the second I heard they were going to make a Venom movie, I was like, they obviously can't do this storyline, so I was very curious on how they were going to actually make the movie. And it just I maybe I just didn't really like the movie because I loved the origin of it in that story, like that format, and I just knew they weren't going to be able to do it without Spider-Man. So maybe that's just why I don't like the movie. I don't know.
It could be a bit much. I recently rewatched it with my girlfriend, and it was like, it was okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like the inner dialogue to me is like real kind of cheesy, and like I hate the Venom voice. It's just like, like it was like you can barely hear what he's saying. Like, and it's, I don't know. It's real sloppy to me. Like I don't get it.
I mean, the trailer for this one, I thought just didn't look that great. I know they still got time to redo their visuals and like kind of bring them up, but I thought it was all like that real, how they get everything real dark so you can't really tell what's going on, to kind of like sneak things by you a little bit. And that was one of my things I really didn't enjoy about the Venom movie, is that like he looks like slimy and greasy, where I never really imagined Venom like that in real life. He was always more of like a matte looking thing that like takes over. And they just made it so like shiny and like, I don't know, just it just doesn't look believable in the real world. And so when I see the Carnage footage, you know, I'm not the most hyped up on it just because of the visuals. I think when it comes to like a character like Carnage and Venom, it's like all about the visual effects, right? Like that's the character.
Yeah. I think
you know, we'll see.
I think Carnage looks better than Venom.
yeah, because I think Venom is supposed like Drunky was saying. I think Venom was always more like synonymous with the black on him was synonymous with like shadows. Like he would disappear into the shadows. He would meld into the darkness and stuff. And like that's how his powers kind of would happen in the comics and stuff. And like Drunky says, with you being shiny and like having a sheen on you when it's dark out and there's any light, that just kind of ruins that whole effect completely.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were really trying to play on the fact that it was an alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. So we'll
see
see. Woody
any more?
Harrelson does take a back seat a lot, though. Like what you're talking about earlier, like they pay for him. Like he will show up in a movie for like 30 minutes to an hour and then like completely disappear and like getting written out of the script. Like he's not against that.
Yeah.
Look
He's
at
a
him
real
in,
stoner. He's using it going.
all the Hunger Game movies.
Yeah, he shows up for a brief minute.
Yep.
He's just gone. Like
Yeah.
he's just out.
See his big
Drop some one or two funny lines.
his big fat check just sticking out his ass pocket as he's walking out the door. See ya.
That's really gonna be the challenge for Carnage, if like he has that much symbiote in him to cover that fucking check.
Yeah.
While he's like doing his moves. Like I don't know if he does or not.
That's so good. But yeah, like I'd be very curious. Like I presume they probably can get like a different voice actor in. They're not going to have him doing any kind of body like work. It's all CGI, I presume.
Yeah.
Or like a stunt guy in a suit or something. So like, you know,
They got robots now, Finto. You've seen this. Come on.
I know, but it's like I'm just thinking like how much involvement does Woody actually have in the film? Like probably not that much. Shot all the prison scenes, I'm sure. Maybe has like a couple of like audio like they might have like some sort of inner monologue kind of audio like lines that he ran or something like that. But I would actually say that his actual like on-screen time is probably quite short.
Going off your prediction earlier, like you said, they might open it up with a little bit of catching up with Tom Hardy. They put Woody in the first 45 minutes to hour a lot and get you really hooked on. He delivers a strong performance and gets you hooked more into characters in the movie. And then like we said before, he disappears in the background. Now we have CGI, maybe a voice line every once in a while, but he's gone, and he just helped get that hook in originally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's easy. It's an easy win, I think, for him as an actor. Like, you know, he was probably on the set like a quarter of the time that the others were. Like, you know, it's just an easy win for him.
Fat check in the pocket.
Did you see the interview he did that one time with Chris Hemsworth's brother, where like he puts it together in his head. You can see it like come together. Where he's like, "Wait, you're his brother? Oh, like Hemsworth." And like he's just like stoned. Like he's like, "Oh."
I haven't seen that. That sounds hilarious.
Isn't that like in the second or third movie? Like they'd been around each other a lot at that point too. I think when that happened.
That's so funny, bro. I forgot that. Was it Liam Hemsworth? Isn't it? I completely
Yeah.
forgot. I forgot he was in those movies. I've only seen them like once, and it was like a one and done for me. Do you guys want to watch the campus footage? I think there's a small campus thing.
I sent you that small Iron Man clip too. The Iron Man kid. It's a funny one.
I think there's like a really small kind of like intro video you can see, like just a kind of recap or something. See if I can find something. It was pretty fucking cool, to be fair. They've got like Dora Milaje there and everything. That's pretty sweet.
The Dora Milaje. They're so nice.
Yeah. They are. They're great. A great bunch of lassies.
I don't know how, in terms of international law, I don't know how good they are, but...
Yeah, true. Here we go. Bro, like, I'm actually thinking of coming to California just to go to this.
Hi, I'm Todd Martins with the Los Angeles Times. We are standing inside Avengers campus in Disney
What's up,
California
Todd?
Adventure. The new 6-acre land
Toddy boy?
dedicated to the Marvel Universe. The land opens June 4th. It was originally scheduled to open last summer.
It's Forma.
It was delayed during the pandemic. It's been under construction since about June 18th. It has
Good
a new
timing,
ride
too.
themed to Spider-Man. It actually does feature cameos from Tom Holland. And basically the ride uses some new technology. You are basically using your fingers to fling webs, web slinger. So like you basically just kind of flick your hand and then a web appears on the screen and you can use the web to attract spider bots or pull spider bots away. So I'm gonna go ride the new attraction, Web Slingers. Mark, you're gonna have to stay outside because you can't bring video on the attraction. But you can read all
rub it in,
when you
pal.
subscribe to the LA Times.
Yeah, look at this guy's privilege.
Rubbing it
We are
in.
walking inside the Web Supplier store, which is just outside of the Web Slingers attraction. In here, there's a lot of Spider-Man themed merchandise, a lot of Spider-Man toys. They have these.
I would be in my element there. I'd love to walk through that with Max Luthor.
Power band.
He'd be
You're in
fucking.
bro, I got a
He'd be
video for you.
He'd be crying.
You
He'd be
sort of-
crying.
Sort of have different interactions. It doesn't necessarily make the ride better or worse. It just sort of think of it as like a video game skin. Like in Fortnite, you could buy different outfits.
Oh, they
We are
dropped
standing
Fortnite.
in the center of Avengers Campus. The Quinjet is above us. There's 3 different shows in the land currently. We are standing where from Black Panther, the Dora Milaje perform. They do sort of a training routine that interacts with the guests.
I'd love to be drunk walking around this place.
You try to take a spear.
Yeah, I'd be like,
I see you now.
And one of the other shows happening in Avengers Campus is a Doctor Strange show. It's
Why are they
essentially a
smiling? The
short,
Dora
10-minute,
Milaje, what did you-
magic
they don't
show.
smile.
This great mystical prowess amongst you.
That's not Doctor Strange.
We don't have time for games, old friend. Oh, fine. Have it your way.
And the third
Imagine
show
that was your
of land is
job.
actually the first show
I
that
know.
you see when you walk in. It is a
Yeah, this is
Spider-Man
what I wanna
show.
see.
It is
I
basically
cannot believe
Spider-Man
this is a
comes out,
robot.
He does some stunts for you, and then what you see is a pretty neat.
Oh, no, sorry,
visual
this is
effect.
probably a
You
guy,
see a
but
stunt
then-
bot,
Yeah.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is this really impressive robot that does all these acrobats in the air. It's been in development
my
by
God.
Walt Disney Imagineering for a number of years. And then Spider-Man falls
Insane,
down
bro.
the wall,
That's a
and
fucking
then-
robot, dude.
Superheroes are active, right? And they are iconic and they're larger than life. And when we watch these films, when we read these comics,
Scott
we want
Drake.
to see ourselves in those roles, right? They inspire us to become
Someone's
something
attempting
more.
to steal that
And
robot first year.
Now we have a place where we can
Oh,
step
that-
in.
that
we
robot
can
would
get
disappear.
involved. And I think
You're gonna try to lure
idea
it.
of having not only these
Someone's gonna
iconic
try and hack it
characters,
wirelessly.
but now we relate to them on another level to where they're walking amongst us and inspiring us and we can get involved with them. I think that's the ultimate idea.
So we are standing right outside the PIM test kitchen, which is where you can get food that is either super large or super small. So like the chicken sandwich.
Yeah, I think we should do a
is basically
D-team,
chicken
like,
fried
field
steak,
trip
fried
to this
chicken
place
sandwich with little
sometime.
curly buns, or you can
Let's
get like a giant
I'm
pretzel.
all in.
You can get
I will
red
fly-
tea,
Yellow
soda,
bus.
I will
from
fly
Roberto,
halfway around the world
which
for
is
this.
a reference from the Incredible Hulk movie. And outside, this is a little beer garden. You can get a lot of beer cocktails.
Look at them all geared out with this
Grown-up
web.
superheroes.
Look at all the pimp tech stuff. I'd get
Disney,
hammered
don't know
in
the
Pim
current
Labs
status,
there.
but Disney has talked about eventually putting an Avengers ride right pretty much where we're standing. They've also talked about a stunt
Yeah,
show
Kevin Feige was
involving
saying
Black
that
Widow.
this place is going to
So
change all the
hopefully,
time.
the land will
So
continue
as the
to
movies
evolve,
come out, they'll
in
bring
the
like
years to
different
come.
displays and stuff
That's
to
crazy.
The LA Times.
it. So
Thank you for watching.
it's ever changing. That shit's crazy, bro. Crazy.
Looks so fun.
Oh my god.
I'm down.
I would honestly go like that Pim's bar just looks like so much fun.
The whole thing looks awesome. That
Just-
robot just my brain doesn't register that like even watching it I'm like CGI.
I thought that was a guy getting launched. I was like, imagine that was your
Exactly.
job. That's just some dude and he just gets launched across the fucking sky all day. It's like, here we go, launch number 15. It's like, 20 and I'm done for the day. I just cannot believe that that's a robot. Like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
It is like they really did a great job in it. With everything there, like the Pim Test Kitchen, everything being bigger. Like they have sandwiches. They'll have like a panini that's like a family-sized panini that you can serve like 5 people. Like just how dumb that is.
Oh my god.
I'm down.
We
for
solved
it.
the mystery. What is shawarma, Drunky? Because I did my Avengers
Chicken,
watch through today.
right? It's like
it?
rotisserie chicken or something. Hold on.
Yeah, I need to know that.
It's at the end of the movie that we watched, isn't it? Where he's like,
Yeah,
hey guys, you
yeah,
want to go to that
right.
shawarma place?
couple of blocks down the road. I don't know what it is, but I really want to try it.
Yeah. Just while we're kind of watching clips right here, I'm just going to throw on this clip for Loki. This is one I haven't actually seen yet myself, so I'm excited.
Your savior is here! There is no stopping me. I am a god, you dull creature. And I will not be bullied by When do we start?
So good that wheeze.
He's such a legend, bro. He's such a great actor. He's
I
such
do
a
that
great...
Legend
He's
series
so
that they do
good.
on the Disney Plus.
And now,
Oh, sorry as
We'll check
well.
those out.
Sorry, just while we're on kind of trailers and shit. There's a new Black Widow trailer as well. Scarlet Yo. Check this out.
and now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Marvel Studios' Black Widow. Enjoy this special look. I've
I
lived
love
a
that
lot of
music,
lives,
that sound clip.
but I'm
It's
done
so good.
running
They-
from my past. I was an assassin,
Get Ross.
spy, an Avenger. Before that, I had a family.
On July 9th,
We have unfinished business.
we fight with you. The wait
Oh,
is over.
You okay?
Great plan. I love the part where I almost bled to death.
I love that.
Marvel Studios' Black Widow. Rated
God.
PG-13.
I'm hyped up for it.
July 9th.
Yeah.
Wait for
This
the...
Avengers watch through definitely got me more hyped for it.
Oops.
Here we
Yeah.
are.
Sorry, one sec.
And now, the moment you've all been
Where's the bit?
business.
This is the bit that interests me the most
An
here.
assassin.
Where is it?
So he kicks up the shield.
No, just before that. This should remind you of the game, Drunky. Hang on. Where is it? See the weapon that Florence has?
Oh yeah,
Look.
the one that she puts together.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
it's like in the Avengers game, you know the way Black Widow has that pole, and she just goes beast mode when she puts it on, like because it's just like shooting electricity out of it now.
Oh, that's rad.
Oh, bro.
I love the red electricity.
Yeah, dude. So
wait.
fucking cool. Look at
We
this.
fight with you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. This just looks like nonstop action.
It
you know?
really
Yeah.
does, and like David Harbour just looks incredible in it. It just looks amazing. Sorry, I'm just
Yeah.
seeing loads of stuff I haven't seen yet. This is just a little tiny featurette for Loki. Let's just watch this. Why not?
Here we are.
Also, I just want to say real quick, that we have actually timed this beautifully. Like, even when you saw that Loki trailer, it was just all Avengers 1 footage. Like, so we are in the perfect spot. It's incredible.
Behind the scenes with Loki.
Loki.
Here he is. That's me.
It's this really big story with a mixture of tones and genres.
Loki's the god of mischief. We have to do mischievous things.
But we're creating real mayhem.
Bye.
The TVA oversee the sacred timeline and keeps
Owen Wilson's nose is mayhem.
What if you take a character who
It is
represents
crazy.
chaos and you put him in that world? You can trust me.
Oh, you've literally stabbed people in the back like 50 times.
Why never do it again? This is something I don't think Marvel has ever done.
It is very different.
The audience will be really excited.
Sure. This is the good part.
I love the action. There's interesting characters.
There's twists and turns.
It's awe-inspiring.
What could possibly go wrong?
What did you expect?
I think all these different
Okay,
versions.
straight up.
I think all these different versions of Loki that you're seeing, like, are going to be like, he's like the main Loki from like 2012 is going to be going against all of these guys. So it's going to be like multiple versions of Tom Hiddleston, like, which is crazy. Yeah, that fucking, it looks so good, bro.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that show.
Yeah,
I sent you that Iron Man clip if you wanted to see that.
oh yeah.
Drunk, you had it stuck in my head.
Sorry, hang on.
But all those sets look straight movie theater sets, like movie.
I think
like they look so good.
I think this one is the one that's going to change our minds. I think this one is going to be very close to the movies. I think this is the first like kind of proper production, like, you know. I think the first two might have been a bit of a flop, but still not too bad. But I think this is going to be the first one that's going to really shine. Just from the fact of how much. Like, even in that tiny clip there, like, I've heard that Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston, like, are, like, brothers on the set. Like, you know, the chemistry between the two of them is electric, like, and that shit is just gonna pop on screen. You're gonna be able to see it perfectly. And I just, even from that tiny clip that we just saw, you can just feel it. It just feels so fucking good. So good. And, like, that really excites me, just because you just know that there's gonna be a lot of care gone into the production of it. And I think it's gonna really, really pop on screen. I'll try this clip up here that Kyle put in.
It's
I play Miss Michael.
too good. Yeah, Navahi.
Oh my god. Oh, the poor kid.
Whenever you say Iron Man Repulsor, same sentence.
Oh my god, bro. That is absolutely brilliant.
That's so funny.
Oh my god.
That was great.
That's hilarious, dude. I don't know how people think shit like this. I really don't.
They're high. They're high out of their mind. They're just stoned.
Yeah.
Like, having a great time. They got nothing to do for the day. And they just...
The world is just so different to them. They just see shit that we don't. Yo, Sharky, what's up, dude? Yeah, like, so... Just, yeah, I think, like, the Loki that we're going to get in this show is going to be a very different Loki that, like, if you were to have watched Endgame and then go straight into it, I think, you know, he'll be a different guy. So I think the way that we've done this rewatch is just perfect, because we're going to see that version of him just getting picked up and just taken off, which is great. What did you guys think of the movie? Like, this is supposed to be about Avengers. We haven't even spoke about it yet. We're 40 minutes in.
I'll say this. You know, as much as Joss Whedon gets a lot of flack nowadays for everything going on, the man knows how to put together like a ensemble movie from like that. You know, that was a large juggling act. It was the first time they really did something like this in cinema, and he absolutely nailed it. From like the script to the pacing, the costumes are probably the worst part, but everything else, like everything, the way the movie comes together, it was just absolutely fantastic, dude. Like it pulls the characters and takes all these separate characters who they're so different in their personalities and their movies. Everything's so different, and then he pulls them together, and there's friction, and then there's cohesion. And he did. I thought, just as a director, it was just such a good movie from him that he delivered.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Firefly. Like, I loved Firefly. The Serenity movie was pretty good as well. So like, I kind of have a bit of a love for Joss, and obviously this movie was a great movie. But I don't know if it's just this movie is quite like the best that he can do. Like, I just don't like. Justice League is a prime example of him trying to recreate something where, you know, maybe the script isn't that strong, and, you know, he doesn't have Kevin Feige behind him and stuff like that. And when he doesn't have Kevin Feige and the safety net that is the MCU, he's not the best director. Like, but this movie, we're just talking about this movie, we're not talking about anything else. But yeah, this movie at the time was incredible. Like, you know when you're watching Captain America 1 and you see that clip at the end where he's boxing and you're like, holy shit, this is kicking off. And then you got that little trailer for the Avengers. Like, I remember sitting in the cinema going, and it was like next summer, and you're like, what, they're all together? I was like, this is insane. Like, I'll never forget that. Like, that was so good. And like, the movie's just like, I like the pacing of the film is like really good. And like, rewatching it there on Wednesday, I was kind of like, Jesus, we're like an hour into this movie, or maybe a little more, and the aliens haven't even come yet. But you enjoy it, like, you know, it's still good. Like, I love the banter between Tony and between Cap, and then Tony again is rubbing elbows with Thor in a bad way. Like, Tony's just trying to stir shit up. I love when he's like messing with Banner, trying to get him to morph and stuff, like, and you're just like, you're in the sky, and like things like Cap's like, are you fucking crazy? What are you trying to do here? Like, you know, it's just so good. I just love shit like that. Like, and then like that first fight that Thor and Captain America, or that Iron Man have, like, you know, does Mother know you're wearing her drapes and stuff, like, you know, like, it's just classic Tony. Like, it's just really good comedy. And then obviously the whole Thor and Hulk thing as well is just so funny. Like,
punches him in the face.
Yeah, it's classic. Like, it's just so good. And then I love the bit where Hulk tries to pick up the hammer, and like, he starts sinking into the ground and all. It's just crazy. Yeah. So good. And then like, I just even love Thor in that scene as well, because like, when he's trying to talk him down before he even gets the hammer, he's just like punching the head off him, and like, you just see how strong Thor is, because he's just like punching Hulk around even without the hammer. And then you kind of realize, oh shit, like, that's how powerful Thor is, because like, you don't really see him matched up with someone like the Hulk until then. Like, I know in Thor 2 he starts going against much bigger guys and stuff like that, but like in Thor 1, if you think back, like, he didn't really do any serious damage without the hammer. So I remember that being the first time you kind of see Thor throwing down with his fists, and you're like, oh shit, this guy, like, obviously he's a god, like, but it's like, this guy is strong, like, even just by himself without the powers, like, which is really cool.
Yeah, I love the whole movie. Oh, go ahead, Alex.
Oh, no, go ahead, Kyle.
I would say the whole movie, I think, still holds up to this day really well. I don't know who's in charge of decisions like this, but I saw something, I think it might have even been one of the TikToks you sent me, Finto, where they talk about how they show Stark the Tesseract, or Banner the Tesseract, on the cell phone, but then when Fury walks in to show Cap the Tesseract, since he's just out of ice, they show him on pictures in a manila folder, just his old style, because he's still not caught up to the world. Little details like that just really popped back out for me this time. The one-liners are, we're not in the super depressed phase yet. We still have room for comedy, and like one of my favorite parts is Cap looking at Hulk, and he's telling everyone all the plans. And he just looks at Hulk and he goes, Hulk, smash. Like, stuff like so many good little moments like that. And like you said, when you think of this movie, like, going into this movie, I think of the whole movie as like all the action being in that alien scene, and that being half the movie. That's like not even a full hour of the movie. Like, you get so much movie paced well up before that, and then when that hits, it stretches itself out that it feels like like a proper ending to the movie. Just so good.
Then with the first Avengers, I think they really nailed it and understood how their formula works for references and callbacks. Because as soon as Avengers 1 happened, like, they knew from the start, it's like, okay, people love when you reference things. Yeah. People love when you do callbacks to things that, like, you know, were just said for a quick moment. Kind of like the reference when they were talking about flying monkeys, and you see Cap, and he's like, "Oh,
I understand that reference." Yeah. It's
and
great.
it's so good.
Yeah, my girlfriend never copped. Like, she's seen the movie a few times, and the bit where do you know the bit where I think Fury says like I'll give you $10 to Steve if I can kind of blow your mind in the next day or whatever, and he's just like he's like nothing's gonna top what I've seen so far. And then it's like the ship goes up and he just hands him the $10. Like I think I don't know why like my girlfriend thought that was like in reference to something else, or so she just didn't get it. I was like, oh no, they made a bet, and she was like, oh shit, I didn't notice that before. But yeah, like it's just like little things like that, like just the banter is like really good.
It just shows like how like human they are. They're not just superhero, like they're everyday people who have experiences. And it's one of the things like when the movie opens up with Stark or whatever, when they get to Tony and he's doing something in the real world with his superhero powers by like, you know, fixing a wire and installing something with his like Iron Man suit on, and then he leaves out there, then he goes up to Stark Tower, and like there's just something about moments like that make like the Avengers so much better to me than something like Justice League, which the Avengers could have very well ended up like Justice League, where it's like they're just like god characters and this is who they are and this is all that matters is when they're huge. And stuff like that where it's like he has a little moment where he's installing something, flies up, and then he has a relationship moment with Pepper Potts. It's stuff like that like grounds the Avengers that's why I adore the MCU. And I hope they never lose that, because I sometimes feel like they do lose that in a lot of the bigger movies and such, where it just doesn't feel like you have it. But man, I love that stuff, dude. It's just so good.
Yeah. I think it does definitely get to a stage where it's just like it becomes that kind of universe thing. Like the second they introduced like Guardians of the Galaxy, you opened up the universe, like, you know. So it's just, it then became, you didn't really see Tony, it was always Iron Man. You didn't really see Steve Rogers, it was always Captain America, you know. And I think like when you go back and you start watching these movies, you do see a lot more human to them. Like you see like Tony's getting jealous over Phil Coulson, like, you know, it's like, and you're kind of like, oh shit, like, you know, he is just a normal dude, like, you know. So
but then by the end of the movie, he's like, I love how he builds their relationship. He's like, yeah, I'll fly you out there. Well, I mean, come on, it's just flight to Portland. One thing I didn't really get, and I talked to you about this, how I wanted to talk about this today, Finto, earlier. How when they introduced Hawkeye, he uses a gun in the very beginning of the movie, and then never touches a gun again. Like, I don't understand why that couldn't have just been him using his arrow from the get. Why do we have the gun scene? Kind of confused me. And also, I low-key liked him better when he was possessed. Like, he was like full potential. It felt like full potential, using his brain. Yeah. He was a shot caller for once instead of being in the background. And he's like, no, this is the information I know. This is what they're going to be like. Yeah. I liked him possessed.
Well, that's like, you know, that's when someone is just pure assassin and there's no conscience, there's no right or wrong. It's just put the skill set to use. And, you know, he is... in that universe, like, I think he's considered like the best kind of marksman in the world. Like, so it's like, you know, he can shoot, like, you see him shooting arrows out at helicopters at like 50,000 feet, and he's able to like destroy engines with them and stuff. Like, so, you know what I mean? Like, he has that knowledge that no one can match. Like, and I don't really understand the gun thing. Maybe it's like when you see Cap using guns as well. Like, I completely forgot. I always thought he just used them during World War One, but there's actually a scene in that movie where he's shooting the machine gun, which I forgot about, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, he actually did use a gun there. But I suppose he was kind of backed into a corner. Maybe he had to, like, you know. But
I feel like that's also a big callback. It shows like he was a soldier.
Yeah.
And he did get military training, and so he knows how to use weapons very well. Same thing with Clint. I have to agree with you, Kyle. Like, it was kind of weird with the gun. But you do still see kind of that marksmanship, especially when he's talking with the group, and all of a sudden he like pulls the bow back and shoots a guy behind him.
I love that shit. Yeah, that shit. I'm a sucker for all that stuff. Like, where he's doing the trick shots with the arrows and stuff. It's incredible.
And he thinks.
I love.
And he thinks clearly.
Yeah.
His quiver having a button.
Yeah. He changes the arrowheads and stuff. Yeah, it's really fucking cool shit.
And then the last thing I noted, that I don't know if this has been explained away and I'm just missing it. The council, are they Hydra? Who are these council that Fury's talking to? Because I feel like I've lost them after this movie. Like, who are they?
They do come back in Winter Soldier and stuff. They're like the World Council, so it's just like the UN or whatever. And they just kind of they kind of dictate and control all the major kind of spy organizations and stuff like that. Like, so I think I think they're just referred to as the World Council. But yeah, I think they are heavily infiltrated by. You found out later on. I think they're infiltrated by Hydra for sure.
And then they end up getting lost later in the movies. Like by the time Infinity War, like they're
that's. I think the second Hydra is outed in Winter Soldier, that whole kind of structure, that whole like kind of government structure just gets binned because they just know that like Hydra have had their hands in everything, so they kind of just have to scrap everything because it like everything's just been corrupted. Like so, I'll be very interested to see where it goes. Though. I think that's where Captain America 4 is what I heard is going to be happening. So the Red Skull's daughter is going to be coming into it, and she's going to be trying to reform Hydra and stuff like that. So and then obviously Sharon Carter will have a part to play in that as well. So that interests me absolutely. You could potentially see a return to Steve Rogers. Someone actually gave me I saw a great theory. What if Old Man Cap isn't actually an old man? The Old Man Cap was actually a Skrull.
Ooh, that could work.
And basically, Cap he's either off planet or he's just, taking time off or whatever. And then it kind of opens the door to bring Chris Evans back in the future. And it kind of makes sense that, oh yeah, look, there wasn't actually an Old Man Cap. He actually has been on the moon the entire time,
Do you think that Captain America would do that though? You know what I mean? Like Steve Rogers, he would not like have a Skrull go to Sam and give him the shield and all that. That kind of seems out of character for Steve Rogers.
Maybe Steve Rogers was always quite close to Nick Fury. Maybe they're off together, like whatever they're kind of doing for the Secret Invasion. That Steve Rogers could be involved in that.
I feel like the shape-shifting is like the cop out, the time travel cop out, like where people are trying to
always.
Well, I think the biggest mistake with them having Old Man Cap was where him come back as an old guy was just him being kind of like an old guy, not like an in shape old guy. Yeah, and all they had to do is have him bulked up and like he's old and you can tell he's got age on him, but he still looks like he's got the super serum in him. It would not look like a regular old dude, And
that kind of
bro.
That kind of helps. That kind of helps the theory though, that it wouldn't be the actual Old Man Rogers because they didn't do it right. That kind of to me that kind of helps the theory.
I can't go along with you on this one, man. There's no way that theory is that theory's out there, bro.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
You're reaching and you're hoping to pull back a Cap.
I absolutely love to have Steve Rogers back. He constantly makes a return in the comic books.
Listen, we know that you hate Falcon, but this isn't the way to go about it, Finto. We know that. Quit trying. He just got the shield. Come on, bro.
He's not gonna have a problem.
I would say this about like the MCU versus the comic book because Cap does come back a lot in the comic books. All these characters do kind of come back after they die or they leave or whatever. But I think it's a thing that we're gonna have to accept in the MCU because this is movies. This isn't just comic books where they can write people in and out. These are actors who got contracts, they're stars, they want to do other stuff. And so that's why I think the MCU is constantly going to be progressing to a point where it's like, we got to put Captain America away, Steve Rogers away. We got to put him away for good and get the Falcon up to speed and have him be the next one going forward. We got to get Wanda up and have her be the next one going forward. Constantly introducing new people who get better and stronger because it's the movie business. It's not the same. It's not as fun as the comic book industry.
I agree, but I think at the same time, you could have Anthony Mackie play Captain America for like 3 or 4 films, and that would actually span like maybe like 5, 6, 7, 8 years. That's a long time in movie time. And then you could actually bring back Chris Evans. He's had a chance to go off. He's done all of his movies. He's whatever projects he wanted to do, and now he's like, I'll come back. I'll make a big fat payday, and do 1 or 2 movies. I've heard very much so that he has signed on to do something else. Now, what that's going to be, I don't know. But he has signed on to come back, not in a leading role, but like in a kind of guest appearance role. So I think we will see him again. Hang on, I just want to throw something up on the screen and get your thoughts on this. It's not a video; it's just a picture.
What is it? Is it a Titanic picture, Finto?
Oh my! Why would it be a Titanic picture?
It's the one I sent you earlier.
Can I drag this across? Sorry. I'm a noob with Discord.
Remember my first time.
What do we think of this? Can you read that okay?
Yeah.
Have you seen this dude on TikTok? Like he does nothing. He does nothing, and he gets like billions of plays. It is absolutely hilarious. Billions of plays.
I like that guy that smiles.
That's funny.
I've been seeing the guy that like can make anybody in the world smile. I've been seeing him a lot lately.
I haven't even send me something of that. I don't think I've seen that. Let
me say this about Avengers 2. I don't know how it is in Age of Ultron because I have to go back and rewatch it. But in my head, I thought the chemistry between the Hulk and Black Widow was so much better in my memory than the rewatch. I thought they like barely had any chemistry between them, and it almost felt forced that like Black Widow would actually start like liking Bruce Banner this one. I don't know if I'm just like, I don't know if I just remember it wrong or if it gets better in Ultron, but like I swear I'm sitting there, I'm like, why did I think this was so good? Like this is kind of bad. Like this does not feel like a real like fling going on or like an attraction. It feels so forced to me.
Dude, I've never understood the relationship between the two of them. Never. Like the first movie, yeah, she goes and picks him up and kind of brings him back to the world, but there's not really that much like flirting going on. And I think there's even a mention. I think it's in. Is it in Ultron, or it's somewhere? There's a mention somewhere. I think. Hulk is actually talking to Cap, and he's like, "Oh, I thought you and Natasha were an item," and it's like, you know, that's kind of where it is. Like, you know, there's like such little interest that they actually mention it in one of the films that it's like, you know, oh, I thought you and her were an item, but like, obviously not. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, bro. It's just I didn't really get that. I could have left that storyline behind. I didn't really give a shit about it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as the first movie, I don't think there's any implications that they're, you know, they like each other yet, but it does show that they have some sort of rapport to start with because they start off as strangers. And so, I mean, I'm pretty sure like once we see Ultron, we'll see how long it takes before we actually see the relationship start to spur.
I'm pretty sure at the start of that movie, like at the start of the second Avengers movie, like they're pretty much like all over each other. Like at Stark's party before Ultron makes his appearance, like they're all over each other. Yeah. So like it's kind of implied that they've been doing the whole flirty thing like previously. Like I don't think it's like the way it comes across is like when they actually like hook up or whatever, or they like at that party, like that's not the first time that they're hooking up or whatever.
Maybe he thought it was a big turn on that he was like convinced to come onto the ship.
Yeah.
And that's why he's like, yeah, I'm kind of interested now.
And also in that movie, like, dude, Captain America, like, continuously is always my favorite character inside of these movies. The way he's written, where he cuts through the bullshit every time, and then the way he addresses people, like, he always like it's like what's most important to them. Like that's what's important to him. Like when he's talking with Bruce, and like Bruce Banner's like, "Oh, I'm sure you heard about me." And then like I forget what he says exactly, but it's like I just care about, you know, you and like why you're here, not about the Hulk. Like he just says something. I'm like,
I'm here for
Captain America's like so good, man.
Yeah, he's like, I'm here. I think he says something like, I'm here for the mission. The mission's what's most important.
He says, I heard he goes, I bet you've heard a bunch of words about me, and he goes, heard that you know how to find you're the expert on gamma radiation. Those are the only words that matter.
Yeah, man. Like I just love how he's written like that, dude.
I love how he just addresses people like basically like he meets a guy that's like the same age and he goes, "Slow down, son."
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. No, like it's very like the banter with him and Bucky as well. Like later on, it's like, you know, well, we're old men, like, you know. I always think that's really cool. That's how I would treat it if I was, you know, the same age I was in like during World War II, like in 1945 or whatever, and then it's like 2012. I would really consider myself an old man. I wouldn't think of myself as like a 25-year-old or whatever.
For sure.
You'd have to have the banter with it, like, oh.
Back in my day, when you got the super serum, you grew muscles.
I love
I had to sleep in a chamber.
Yeah, I love the line in Winter Soldier where he's talking about how he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, nutrition's so much better these days. You know, we used to boil everything back in the day." It's like, wow.
I miss my grandma.
Yeah.
Dude, you can really tell how much they powered up Captain America going forward after this too, because he looks really weak in this movie compared to everyone else. Like Hawkeye looks a little bit more powerful than Captain America, like throughout this entire movie, man. Like outside of him punching those like bags, like oh man, he's strong. When it comes to like him keeping up with everyone else, like he barely can help out Tony on the ship, and then he can barely fight the aliens. Like he's just there.
I mean, his flexibility to fit his entire big ass Chris Evans body behind that shield when he does that jump maneuver to block himself from the beam. I was like, nice cannonball, bro.
I've always
That's like one of the favorite ones. I love that move.
I've always kind of wondered about that as well, and I have thought about it as well. And I think like, so if you remember the first Captain America movie, basically there's not a lot of time that passes between him getting his powers and going into the ice. So like during this movie, he's actually only awake like a couple of days or weeks. So I think he's actually still like learning, and like his body is still changing, and he's still like kind of learning what his strengths are and how to utilize everything. So I think as he powers up, it's him actually getting older and like, you know, more battle ready. Like I know he was kind of trained in the army, but he was still a wimp, like who couldn't do anything. So I think like very much so he's still kind of learning how to like walk in these boots and so on. So I think like it makes a lot of sense that he would get better over time. And I think they perfectly do it. Like one of my favorite scenes in the MCU has to be that scene where he jumps out of the plane at the start of Winter Soldier.
Oh my god!
When he gets onto George St. Pierre's boat, bro,
that's
literally
one of the best.
Yeah, that is the epiphany of Captain America right there. And I love the suit. I love like he's got like the stealth shield and everything. It's fucking epic.
Yep. Yeah, it's great. And no, you're right. Like he definitely goes from being like a World War II soldier, where like they just like teach you boxing, where it's like put your arms up, man, just put them up here, you'll be fine. To where, you know, he basically knows a bunch of like MMA moves, and like he knows a ton of fighting styles, and he's actually a full like one of the best fighters on the planet, probably like hand-to-hand combat. And I think you're right. I think they did do it like smoothly, and very smart, intelligently. But I for sure forgot how ineffective he was in this, when I'm here making fun of Hawkeye the entire time, and I should have been making fun of Captain.
Yeah. I think he's a bit lost in the past in that movie, and I think he's very much so trying to adapt to the new world. And you know, everyone is so powerful. Like if you think about it, like, you know, when he got his powers, he's the most powerful thing. Like his match is the Red Skull. You know, and now it's like he wakes up 75 years later, and there's guys dressed in fucking armor, and there's Thor rocking around, and there's like little women like fucking Black Widow who can just beat the shit out of him, and guys with bows and arrows and stuff. Like your head would be all, and then the Hulk, of course, like
single-handedly taking out the big boys.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, you know, it's just a different world. Like.
It's hard to listen to an IGL who doesn't frag out. That's all I'm saying. You got everybody else getting all these kills, and Cap's like, do that, and it's like, bro, what's your KD right now, Cap? Come on.
Kijin said in the chat there, let's see how awesome you are after being defrosted.
There's not a coffee big enough. Yeah,
makes me think of Austin Powers being defrosted. I love that.
Oh, what? Those are great movies, bro. Great movies. Blakey put a clip in Discord he wants us to watch. This better be appropriate, Blakey.
Oh yeah, it was the same one. It's the guy. It's the guy smiling. It's the same one that
smiling thing. Okay, we're safe.
It's the guy that will make anybody smile.
Okay, let's watch it. Oh my God, it's there. Jesus. It's the teeth.
Smiles in his eyes, really.
Oh no. Whoops. I'm an amateur. Guys, I killed Discord.
There you are.
I killed Discord by mistake, guys. Sorry.
I love that background.
I gotta actually change that. I have a thing where I have Discord to automatically close, which kind of makes sense, but not in that situation. It doesn't. That wasn't good.
Do you have a pair of those shoes that Miles is wearing?
Do I have Miles' shoes?
Yeah, from that background. If you don't have that, you're not a true Spider-Man fan. If you don't got a pair of those kicks.
I have actually been trying to find them for for
I knew
my,
it. I knew. I was like,
no, for my not for me, for my kid. Like he's
Okay.
like the best. I think he's a little Miles. Like so, he just jumps around like Spider-Man and stuff. I was like, I want to find him, but he's like so destructive that I would really be upset buying them for him, and then he would ruin them in like a week, and I'd probably like try and kill him. So I think I need to wait till he's way older. Way
is your kid's
older.
name Toby Andrew Tom Finto?
No, no. Unfortunately, I didn't get to name him. Yeah, fuck. Shit, I can't remember what we were talking about there.
Avengers. Talking about how Cap it can't be in IGL if he doesn't have a good KD, and yet he's still out here making all the plays and not putting up the work to support his leadership status.
Yes, sir.
I do.
Thor's outfit in this movie now.
What's that?
Thor's outfit in this movie. This is like the worst Thor they've had.
It's the same one as last time, minus the blonde eyebrows.
I think, yeah, it's like it's bad, but it's on the level of Thor 1, but it's slowly getting better. Like his hair's getting longer and he's looking a bit more Norse, and then they fix the eyebrows. By Thor 2, he's like proper Norse, like, and I think he looks perfect, like.
And then I don't know why they fucking hate Thor, but then they give him dad bod for the entirety of Endgame. Like that, still the fact that they didn't let him lose the dad bod by the end of that movie bugged me.
I love that. I love that because I thought like Chris Hemsworth, I think probably had a big input into that, and then the fact that like you know, it's directed by a comedian, like, you know, it just kind of makes sense that Chris Hemsworth, who's like this fucking god in real life, like, you know, and it's like he's just a big slob who's just drinking kegs of beer. I just thought that was just so like on the nose. It was perfect, like, you know, it was really good. And now obviously he's absolutely TRT'd up to the moon for this next one. Like his arms are terrifying, bro. He's on.
Yeah, they're huge.
Huge, dude.
He's on something, like, I don't know. He's doing like testosterone replacement, and he's
the
doing
veins in his arms are as big as my arms.
Yeah, he's doing some serious shit, like, but fair play to him.
Yeah,
because I know he's actually training he's going to be Hulk Hogan in a biopic as well, so he's getting jacked.
Oh, I'm down for that.
Yeah, he's
getting
jacked to play Hulk Hogan, so it all adds up.
That's funny.
Fair play to him. No matter, like, even if he's sitting there injecting fucking like steroids straight up his ass, like he looks amazing. You know, either way, you still got to train even if you're taking steroids. So he looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're all like kind of busting his balls for having those chicken legs, but how could he not with arms like those? Now that you see him up close,
huge. I saw someone actually talk about that the other day. They're like, maybe he actually has big legs, but his arms are so fucking big that they just like make his legs look tiny. Like he genuinely looks like he's never trained legs, like in that picture.
It's like really putting Shaq next to stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Shaq holds a regular can.
Shaq holds a kitten.
Oh, have you seen the picture of like Shaq standing beside The Rock and then The Rock standing beside Kevin what's his name? The little guy? Kevin Hart. Oh my god. And then like Shaq like will tweet out a picture of Kevin Hart and saying that he's like Shaq's dick and all. It's so good, bro. It's so good. I just love that they can all like kind of laugh and poke fun at each other like that, like, you know.
Like that. Yeah,
it's
I don't know
fucking
if it's
great.
something you sent me, Finto, but I was watching this theory about someone basically like rewriting Endgame and Captain's character, and if Thanos were to like, if Thanos would have made Captain America go back to his like pre-super serum form. Did you guys see that like story treatment?
No, but that is interesting.
So basically the theory is, or not theory, it was like, you know, the fan fiction of it is when Thanos is fighting everybody in Infinity War, what he does to Captain is he uses the Reality Stone to strip off his super serum and turn him back into like regular Steve Rogers, where he's like super skinny, right?
That'd be badass, bro. I would love that.
That'd be crazy.
I would love to see him try to manage.
Dude, he goes through all this where he has to use the Hulkbuster suit to like kind of fight a little bit, like. He's just weak Steve Rogers, and like he's got nothing. Like he tries his best, but he's just a small dude. But then the moment comes where like we're in Endgame, and like Thanos is like kicking Iron Man's ass. He kicks Thor's ass, and like he threw Steve Rogers away like he was nothing, like he is.
Yeah.
But then wait,
he picks up the hammer.
He pulls up Mjolnir.
Yes.
And a lightning bolt comes down.
Yes.
And he's
Yes,
like
bro.
big Captain America again.
Yes.
How crazy
He
would
is
that be,
worthy.
I don't even know.
my gosh.
I wouldn't even want him to be like. I want him to still be like scrawny Rogers, but I want him to just be able to wield the hammer.
And then he delivers the Avengers assemble after that.
Yeah.
Like,
my God.
Avengers
it would hit
assemble.
so much harder.
I think it's what we were talking about Thor. That just like sparked my like little brain train getting over there, and it was just like crazy, man.
That's
Like,
epic, dude.
I was like, dude, that kind of fan writing, that's just so good, bro. That would have been nuts.
Cajun in the chat. So wait, Cap is essentially just on steroids, and they call it super serum. Like it is the world's greatest steroid. Yes, 100%.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a steroid that gets superpowers, and if it was real, I would be injecting myself with it daily. Like
Oh,
let's
dude, I'd be
let's get real here. I would be fucking putting it in my neck right now. Like
Yeah.
why
My
not?
drywall can't handle any super serum.
Kyle
so.
wouldn't have a house. It would just be flattened. It would
Nah.
just be a pile of rubble.
He'd just be like Kool-Aid Man every fucking wall. Like, well, no, I'm fucking.
Oh
Kyle.
yeah.
Is MODOK good? Someone talking about MODOK on Hulu. Is it? No.
I fell asleep, bro. Like the first episode, I
haven't
fell
watched it.
asleep, and I didn't go back to it.
Yeah, there's a kind of podcaster that I watch, like Marvel dude, and he made a point. Now I don't really agree with it as strongly as this, but he's kind of like, what's the point in watching stuff that isn't connected to the MCU? Because it's kind of like, it's not really related to what's the point. I don't really feel the same. Like I would still watch it, but I don't really like the kind of claymation or whatever they call it. That style of animation. Now it looks funny. I watched the trailer for it, and it does look funny. But I think it would be something where I'd need to have a lot of spare time with nothing to do, and then I would throw it on. I think if I have almost anything else would take priority over it. But I think if I had like a bunch of free time and nothing to do, I think I'd throw a few episodes on and try and get into it that way.
I hate to admit it, but that's where I'm at with the MCU on Netflix. Like, I've always kind of felt like, oh, it's not really canon to the overarching MCU.
Well, it is now.
So, well, yeah, now it is. But
Allegedly.
before when it wasn't,
It is. Don't you even dare! It is.
But that's kind of why I haven't seen much of, and I don't know why, but like everybody loves the Daredevil.
Bro, that is the greatest.
It might be just because the first episode or two were slow for me, and I didn't grow up like watching the Daredevil myself. I don't know,
bro. I don't know.
How best TV shows ever made, man. Like it's legit.
I have a hard time being like, cool, blind dude. All right, guess what today's challenge is? Read the sign. Guess what? You lose. Sorry.
Charlie, he can read the sign. That's the thing. He actually has the ability to see. He just sees differently, but he can actually read stuff.
The way you feel about Falcon is kind of the way I feel about.
No, like I watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier and I enjoyed it. So you have to watch Daredevil. Sorry about you.
All right, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it before Friday. I'll binge it. How many seasons do they have?
There's 3.
4? 3, 4? 3? Okay.
Well, technically, what you have to do if you want to watch it right is you need to watch season 1, season 2, then watch The Defenders, and then watch season 3.
How much is The Defenders a little movie, or is that another show?
It's
a mini Avengers.
Yeah, it's like it's an 8-episode kind of mini series that brings all of the Netflix characters together, like Jessica Jones.
For you guys.
But you don't because I only rewatched the shows, and honestly, like Daredevil for me is some of the best superhero TV that they have ever made. The choreography is incredible. Charlie Cox is amazing. I'm not a big fan of your one who plays Karen Page, but you can deal with her. Like Kingpin is one of the greatest fucking villains ever. He's incredible.
He's amazing.
He's the quintessential Kingpin. No one's ever played him better than that.
Exactly.
Yeah, he looks like him.
He is the Kingpin. He is him. Like it's incredible. And like I just really need to see him go up against Tom Holland. Spider-Man 4, Kingpin, boom, done.
Yeah,
easy. So
easy.
Billions.
Eat up, buddy.
Oh, bro, like so fucking good. Like honestly, Kyle, you'll love it if you give it a couple of episodes. If you have like 3 or 4 hours to kind of burn, like I think the episodes are like 42 minutes or something, or actually they're an hour. They're a full hour. But
when did they come out? Like where was the MCU at when that show originally came out? I think that's part of the reason I wasn't very invested.
This is actually the perfect time to watch it because it was after the first Avengers movie.
I mean, IRL, what year did they come out? Like where were they at in the
2015, 2014? I think it started.
Like
14,
I just wasn't so invested in the MCU back then that like I don't know.
In there's actually plenty of reference to the first Avengers movie in Daredevil 1. Like he's even talking about there's a great quote in it. I always laugh, but there's a great quote where Wesley, who's like Kingpin's assistant, is going to investigate like one of the aftermaths of like Daredevil going in and kicking the shit out of a whole gang. And everyone's just like, oh, he was so fast, we couldn't see him and all this shit. Like, it's like, you're like, he goes, I'd understand if he had like a magic hammer or he was big and green. He's like, I'd understand, but it's like, this is just a normal dude who's come in here and absolutely tore up your operation. Like, and it's just little things to like New York and the place getting destroyed. And there's a whole storyline of these gangs getting together and they want to try and rebuild New York. They see it as a money opportunity and like territory takeovers and stuff like that. Like, so it's very much so. Like, I know they as time went on, they kind of tried to distance it from the MCU, but at the start, like the first season of Daredevil, I would say it's very much linked up. Like there's so much reference to that first movie, and it was, I don't know why, but they decided to kind of branch off with it a bit. I don't know, maybe it just didn't work.
I'm shocked by this, Kyle. I'm shocked.
Here's the thing, like I said, is my buddy from high school tried to get me, because he's a huge Daredevil fan, and he tried to get me to watch when it first came out, and for him, I was watching it, and I don't know, I think that was back when like Arrow was also out at the time, and Flash, I was just more like, those are the shows that I was watching. I was like, I already got a couple of superhero shows on my list. Well, it was the early if
you're a fan of the early Arrow, like Daredevil is better than the early Arrow. Like choreography wise, it's darker, but it's very much got that vibe. Like the first two seasons of Arrow were kind of like, people used to compare it to kind of like Nolan's Batman Begins. It's kind of that kind of dark vibe. And this is very much the Marvel version of that. So yeah, like, man, I don't know how you couldn't like it. It's great. Did you watch The Punisher?
Oh yeah.
Punisher starts in Daredevil season 2, so you missed his intro. So he's in most of the show. It's where you get the intro for Punisher. Daredevil season 2 is basically the Punisher and Daredevil. It's a proper team up, like. And Punisher has better scenes in Daredevil 2 than he did in his own show. Like that prison scene. I'm not going to say anything, but
oh my god, that prison scene, bro.
There's a prison scene, and oh my god, bro, he's wearing a white jumpsuit, and by the end of it, he's completely red. That's all I'll say. It's just the best fucking scene you'll ever watch. Like
Frank Castle.
Yeah, yeah. Castles everywhere, bro. Like honestly, it's insane. What a fucking show, my god! And just Kingpin just gets better and better and better. Like, oh. It's just
listen. By next week, I'll have at least finished a season.
I think there's 13 episodes in each season. It's actually quite long. Like it is a bit of a commitment, but it's 13 hours per season. But honestly, I think if you can get to like episode 5 of Daredevil and you start kind of seeing a bit of his origin story and how he meets Styx and stuff, you're just like, I need to see how this all unfolds. Like it's crazy.
Who did he mess around with in like the comic? Like who did he team up with a lot in comic books?
Everyone, yeah.
Everyone?
Like he's part of. He's remember any of that. Big part of the actual Civil War, and he was big in like with comic books or like with like Spider-Man and the cartoons and all that sort of thing. So yeah, like he's a critical part. Like, and obviously the Defenders and everything. What I think is going to be really cool as well is we're going to probably be getting that show, which is like kind of the kind of like Dark Defenders or whatever way they're going to actually sell it, but I think he's going to be part of it with a few people like Ghost Rider and stuff like that. Like, so it's
they just run the story through all the way, or why'd they end it then?
Why did they end what?
Daredevil.
Oh, it was all contract stuff with Netflix. Like, I don't think it wasn't the content at all. It was all behind the scenes Disney fucking bullshit. Yeah.
Disney wanted to consolidate, bring stuff to them so they could launch Disney Plus. And so they basically were charging Netflix to make the show, right? Like Netflix had to pay them a fee, and then they jacked up that fee so high that Netflix couldn't not afford, but it wasn't smart for them to pay that fee anymore. So they were like, all right, we're done.
Do they still have the rights to it? So now it's just being Netflix has the rights, and they don't want to pay.
Completely released. Completely released, and that was the news like last year, where it was like Charlie Cox and John Bernthal, or however you pronounce the surname, their contracts had ended with Netflix and they were officially free agents, and Marvel did snatch them up. So,
one of the untitled projects will be a Daredevil movie, then they'll start him back up.
Could be.
I would be down for that.
He's going to be in Spider-Man 3. It's coming in December, bros.
Bro,
He's back.
your
He's
Spider-Man 3 has
This one's true, though.
everybody.
Exactly.
This one's true, though.
Exactly. No, this is true. He shot scenes for the movie. He was on set.
But we don't know if he's actually Daredevil.
No,
we don't know
he'll
if
be
it's just like
he'll be
if
Matt
it's
Murdock.
a tongue-in-cheek cameo. Yeah, I know he's gonna be Matt Murdock, but like, is he actually gonna be showing up as Daredevil? Like, are they gonna make Daredevil like a part of the MCU?
I don't.
Or is it
think
just
so.
like a
Like
a tongue-in-cheek reference to him being like he's a lawyer? It's just kind of a fun thing they're doing.
I think
kind of like how like Pietro shows up as Quicksilver. It's like, oh, it doesn't really matter though.
I think he's gonna represent Peter in court
in the trial.
Yeah. That's it's the trial. That's where it
Lawyer
is.
for US agent.
You know how like Quicksilver from X-Men showed up and we thought he was like there was a connection to the multiverse through that?
That was
but there
so
really wasn't
annoying.
anything. It was kind of a tongue-in-cheek reference to it, like a joke. Like, is that what they're gonna do with Daredevil and Matt Murdock? Whereas Matt Murdock shows up as Spider-Man's lawyer, but they're not gonna bring him in ever as Daredevil. He just comes in as Matt Murdock, the lawyer, who is Daredevil behind the scenes, but they never really make anything of that, right? Like that's what I'm thinking is gonna.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Like I think it's he's come in, he shot a couple of like short scenes, small scenes. Probably a courtroom scene, as far as we know, and he's not gonna suit up in the movie. He won't suit up.
Boo.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect intro, and then I think he has
reintroduce him.
Yeah, and then I think he has a bigger part than in She-Hulk. You bring him in She-Hulk, and he has a big case against her, and then you might see him in the suit there.
I was gonna say even that seems a little bit less tongue in cheek than Pietro though, because Pietro kind of hurt my feelings.
Well, here's something
boner.
Interesting. Here's something interesting now. So after the news last week of Aaron Taylor Johnson getting cast as Kraven, he now is contracted for 5 movies with Sony, so he's not going to be returning. So if they do bring back Quicksilver, which they could actually still do now, they're actually going to potentially bring back Evan Peters. So Evan Peters actually could come back as the Fox one. They could actually do it properly through the multiverse. But I think what we saw in WandaVision was just like magic, or that was just the 616 version of Evan Peters. You know what I mean?
They opened
but he was
Pandora's
just a completely
box.
different person.
They opened Pandora's box. I only want him as Mr. Boner now.
Yeah.
Just walking down the street. Hey, Boner.
Yeah, I saw a really funny meme where it was like someone was talking about how they're like, oh, you know, everybody, all these Marvel fans getting hyped up for Loki. I bet you're just gonna get bonered again. And someone wrote back just going, nobody in any fan base on the planet deserves to get Ralph bonered. It's like it was just the worst thing that they could have done.
Ralph bonered.
Worst thing that they could have done to any fan base. Like, yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to kind of go back to the whole MODOK situation. I really think it's very strange that they want to throw away a villain. I get it, like not very many people know who MODOK is per se, but I mean we're not in the right time frame to just be like, oh, let's make a joke series about a villain. I really think that they could have used that for some other plot or something in particular.
I've heard that MODOK is coming.
That's a real
down
weird villain to land on the big screen. Like, how does MODOK really look if he's on a cinema screen? I don't know if they can pull it off.
Yeah, it needs to be in a wild project, something that's just completely unbelievable. I could see him maybe show up in something like Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's just weird stuff happening and weird aliens and all that sort of thing, where you're not going to really bat an eyelid at somebody who's in a machine like that. It kind of makes sense. But they kind of did the same thing with the Mandarin in season 3 of, or sorry, not season, in the third Iron Man movie. They kind of just did a joke on the Mandarin, and now they're kind of rectifying that later on, where we're going to actually see the real one now. So I think you do a little cartoon series, people who are normies kind of go, oh, who's this guy? And then it's 2025 rolls around and it's oh, this is the real version,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys see a standalone film that could bring MODOK in? Are there any characters right now you think MODOK would fit in there?
Against Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, Cap and Spider-Man.
Okay. But like with the show, man, I don't know. Like, I just like, I don't understand why American like animation doesn't take itself seriously. Why do we have to have like a funny show that's like a claymation robot chicken spoofing off that? Like I would love a MCU show that's kind of animated that is on par with like DC's EU in the movies, where it's like really good animation. It takes itself kind of seriously, and they can expand and like bring all these like little tiny characters out, or not tiny, but like MODOK characters. Which are they going to be able to sell a MODOK on the big screen? I don't know, but they could definitely put them in an animated series and make that work.
Oh yeah.
I think the MODOK series on Hulu is just kind of, not that it's like it's a wasted opportunity, but not because it's not canon, just because I think it's a comedy. Like it's like Alice was saying, it's kind of like a joke. It's like okay.
It's humiliating the villain
Right.
before you even give him some screen time to be like a powerful person.
Yeah.
Hopefully Kijin just brought up What If there in the chat, and What If I think is going to be Marvel's kind of answer to kind of doing animation correctly. I think What If is going to be crazy. Like I've heard like some crazy stuff. I don't know if you want me, like, I don't know if these are actually theories or spoilers, so I don't know if you want me to say them or not in case they are true. What do you think? Should I talk about them? Yeah or no?
Do you have things that are potential spoilers?
No, when it comes to what ifs, I don't believe they're spoilers because they are as they are. What ifs?
Yeah.
So,
And they're hypotheticals.
Yeah.
I would say fire away.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard that there's going to be a Steve Rogers Spider-Man is going to be a What If episode, apparently.
Gonna be sick.
Yeah. And then you've got like T'Challa Star-Lord. What else?
That's awesome.
Yeah. They released something, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a pop toy or something, and it gave away something mad. What was it again? Oh my god. I can't think of it off the top of my head now. I had it written in my notes last week and I forgot to bring it up.
I don't remember if it's an alternate universe or if it's a what if comic, but I believe there is a version of Bruce Banner and Peter Parker where they swap their hero roles.
Oh wow.
So Peter becomes the Hulk and Banner becomes Spider-Man.
Yeah. Did you know Marvel actually there's 10 projects at the moment in post-production. So they have 10 projects. Yeah, so there's 10 projects. Like they've been working on a lot of secret stuff, so there's 10 projects that have actually been shot and are in post-production.
So what do we have that we know about? Like Loki's
Black Widow. Loki.
Shang-Chi's in post. Eternals is in post. What If is probably in post. Well, it's what is what it is. Man, so that's 5.
She-Hulk? Maybe She-Hulk.
I think they would still be in principal production with that, right?
Hawkeye is in post. That's
okay.
That's wrapped, and now obviously Thor as well is just wrapped.
True.
But yeah, there's who?
Guardians.
Guardians. No, they haven't started that yet. I think that's due to shoot towards the end of the summer. Maybe I think it's going to start shooting. But yeah, I heard that and I thought to myself, wow, 10 is a lot.
7, and then there's like untitled ones. So
yeah, but that's the part that is very interesting to me. It's like,
I guess Spider-Man 2, right?
Far From or No Way Home would be one. Yeah. But I think there's definitely a couple of like little secret things that they haven't launched yet that might pop up sooner than we expect. And like it could be like kind of crossover stuff is what I'm thinking, that they haven't announced it because it'll pop better if it's a kind of late announcement. It's like maybe after Loki, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, this has just happened, but now after Black Widow, maybe there's like, I don't know, some sort of storyline that they could do with a few people, a few characters from those 2 movies or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eternals is out in November. Eternals will be.
If they did, when they made these movies, if they shot little like short stories while they're like producing them and stuff, and just threw those up on like Disney Plus or something, like just a little like part of the story they don't want to explore in the movie because they got to keep the movie tight and together and focused.
Yeah.
But then they just like drop it like, well, why don't you see where this thing goes? It's a little nugget. Like I think that'd be rad, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these are all Marvel projects, right? And nothing to do with Sony.
Yeah, it's not Sony. It's all Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah. Because like there's fucking 10 things that Sony are doing right now as well. Like so. Yeah. I was gonna
ask about Spider-Verse 2.
Spider-Verse 2 is I just read that they cast a woman to play what's her name, the female spider. Oh my god, I can't think of her name now. Oh my god, what's her name?
Fell out of my head too.
I can't think of her name now. Jessica something, is it? Jessica Spider.
I'm gonna go grab a drink. Do you guys want anything?
I'd love something. Jessica Drew is her name. Sorry. So she's going to appear in Spider-Verse 2. She's playing Spider-Woman. So they cast an actress to play her. I've never heard of this actress though. Is a Ray. I don't know who that is, but crazy legs. I don't know. Like there's a lot going on. I think Marvel should like really try and, like, I think you were talking about it a few minutes ago, Drunky, there, about, you know, how DC can kind of do the animation just so much better, and they can kind of get a bit ridiculous with it, but it's still dark, it's still good, and it still makes sense. Like there's some of these, like, you know, Justice League dark movies you'd watch, like, and there's like, you know, the little demon kid that goes around with the cat and stuff, and you're kind of like, this is fucking ridiculous, but you watch it and you're like, this is actually brilliant, like, you know, it just works, like, and I don't know.
There's so much story to be told.
Yeah.
Outside of the comic books, from the comic books.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that we're just completely gonna miss out on being told in kind of like a like a live performance type of deal, like whatever you call that, right? Like we're just gonna miss out on so many Iron Man stories, so many Captain America stories, just because we gotta move on, because, you know, these actors, it takes a long time to make a movie. It takes, like, you know, 3 years sometimes to make a movie. So you know, DC, like, they were rolling out an animated film like every year that involves all their, you know, big characters, and they do like local stuff on top of, like, you know, Batman gets his own like animated film every year on top of like just a big DC group up. Like I wish they were able to do stuff like that, especially now that we got Disney Plus as a platform. Like let's get into the stuff like that. I think DC just, they treat it way different as well. Like when they bring out, like, you know, the Batman Who Laughs, or sorry, not the Batman Who Laughs, like the Killing Joke, sorry. When they bring like movies out like that, they treat it like an actual movie. Like me and my girlfriend went to the cinema to see that film. Like it was a fucking Batman animated movie. We went to see that film, and I just think the way that Marvel does it, like they kind of advertise their animated stuff as like children's TV shows, which is a bit different. Like, you know, in this day and age, I think they can make movie style quality films that obviously will be aimed towards kids as well, but they don't need to be kind of advertised as stuff that would appear on Nick Jr. or something like that, like, because that's kind of the way it feels. Like I never have the urge to sit down and watch like Avengers Assemble, the animated series, because it just looks so childish that it's like, you know, I can't watch this. Whereas when Batman gets out, like Under the Red Hood, like Jesus Christ, like that movie is incredible. Flashpoint is amazing. Like these are better than like some live action movies, like. And I just think that if Marvel took a page out of the DC's book, like they copy each other all the time, who cares? Like start doing these, like, you know, Adventures of Captain America. Like you could do him returning the stones. You could do that in animation, you know, and it would be incredible. You start like dipping into Spider-Man stories in animation, where, you know, it could go a bit crazier, or they could go into space, or, you know, you could do like, I pray they don't do this because I want to see it in live action, but if you did like Secret Wars but did it in animation, it would be amazing. But obviously I want to see that in live action. It just, I don't know, man. Like, wow, I the Japanese culture, like they're so good. Like they get so much good stuff, like with all their anime and stuff like that, where it's like high production, high quality, great stories. They don't pull punches. It's like brutal. And like, even though it is, you know, technically like, you know, a cartoon, it's made for kids, they don't like pander to a child audience. You can watch it as a kid, but if you go back and watch it as an adult, like you get more out of it. Like if you go back and watch like older stuff like the X-Men, like go back and watch the X-Men stuff on Disney Plus right now. As an adult, like you pick up on like way more things that were happening in the show that are like more adult oriented. And I feel like we've lost that. They're like, well, this is made for kids, got to be for kids, and it's really frustrating, man.
And like I just think DC have hit a nail on the head, like, you know, like even like when they do like these Justice League movies and stuff, and like they've just announced that they're doing an Injustice animated movie, like that will be fucking fire. Like I will watch that movie as if it's a live action movie. I will treat that like I will be so hyped to watch that film that I pray that they release that in the cinema like they did with the Killing Joke, because I'll honestly pay $60 to go see that in the movies, like 100%.
We're lucky that things like Into the Spider-Verse, I think, are helping things get in the step in the right direction.
Yeah, What If as well.
Yeah, because everybody that I literally have never heard anyone say a bad word about Into the Spider-Verse.
No,
and,
it's like, phenomenal. Like,
exactly.
It's phenomenal.
So I think the part of the problem, though, is like, American culture is so weird about like cartoons. Like we categorize them for kids to the point where like even when you're like, yeah, I watch this, and like if like telling people you watch anime is still kind of like meme. Like, yeah, I watch anime, and people are like, oh, you watch anime? And it's like, it's not very accepted here, whereas there they have so much more acceptance to the arts in general.
Yeah, anime, I would say, is even less accepted over here than it is in the States. Like, if I say I'm watching something animated, like, you know, like my girlfriend looks at me like I have two heads half the time. Like, if I'm saying I'm watching Clone Wars, or like she'd sit in the room and she'd watch like a bit of Clone Wars, and she'd be like, oh, the dialogue is so childish. She's like, I just can't sit and watch this. I'm like, but you have to see this, like, links in episode 3 like to this so perfectly and stuff. Like, I was like, this is actually part of the story, and she's just like, I don't care, I just can't watch it.
She hides all your full body pillows. She hides them from you.
Yeah, she, no, like, I just think Finto, like, pulls out 5 of his body pillows that he has. Like, oh, it's my turn now. Like, I got them out of the place.
Yeah. Oh my God! Speaking about Star Wars for a second,
your new lightsaber.
Yeah, I didn't show you guys. I can actually show you live.
I want to see it, but I'm excited. Look at that case.
Boom! Custom,
oh yeah, so good.
Custom sabers. Yeah, I suppose the kid's not here tonight, so I can probably turn it on real quick because I know my girlfriend's awake. So, like, this thing is so fucking loud. I was afraid to turn it on when I got it, like, at night, because it's so loud. Like, it's crazy. I can't put, well, I probably could put the blade in, but it might take me, I have to actually unscrew the top off it. Look at that.
Oh,
how heavy is it?
It's actually, it would knock you out if you got to hit it with it. Like, it's like proper. It's full
baton.
Full metal piece, like.
That's so cool. Can you access the Kyber crystal too?
No, I can't in this one. Like, if you get ones that you can get get access to the crystal, they're worth like 3 times what I paid for this. Like, yeah. Hang on a second.
That's still really so cool.
Yeah, look, you can actually see the the lights actually flash on the board here and everything.
That's awesome.
Hang on.
I love it.
Hang on. That's Darth Maul. So does they have all different voices?
Oh, I can't hear the voices.
Yeah.
I don't think it's activating your mic.
Is it? The mic's not picking it up?
Yeah,
your mic's too good now.
Damn you, Clint.
Clint, you cut out all of his riffraff. How dare you?
We got that bass roll turned on, baby.
Oh no. Clint's done me in.
He's protected you too well from outside noises.
This is his plan all along.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it's incredible. Like, honestly, I'll put a link into the place I got it from.
But do you have a Kenobi voice on the clip that you originally recorded?
There, it has Luke. It has Mace. It's got Kylo is probably one of the best ones. It's got the Emperor. Fucking Qui-Gon. Everyone.
Adam Driver does angry angst.
He's so good,
lost teenager so well.
He's so good, bro. He's one of the only kind of saving graces of that entire trilogy is the fact that he's such a good actor. He's so fucking good.
It makes me kind of. I wish, like, it'd be so cool, like, and I won't go on it too much because I'll be annoying, but I always wish I would have, like, met him in the Marine Corps and been like, bro, I know him.
Yeah.
I was in the infantry unit and he was an infantry guy, and that just imagine being like hanging out with the dude, and then like a year later you're going to watch Star Wars and you're like, wait a second.
That'd be crazy, bro.
Yeah, dude.
That'd be amazing.
Yo, Wolf, what's update? How are you?
Be my biggest flex ever, but unfortunately, I don't have it.
That'd be Adam Driver's biggest flex too. So,
yeah.
Do you guys know I met fucking Kyle Krug while I was in the core?
Bro, you should have seen.
He went through so much drywall.
Exactly. They put us in a cement room, bro.
Trying to think here. Oh, did you know? Actually, I don't like. I know I harp on about like the Spider-Verse and stuff a lot, but did you know that Sam Raimi's actually directing Doctor Strange 2?
Mm-hmm.
So like, we all know who.
That's perfect.
Who he is.
He's doing both. He's doing all the. He's like in charge of the multiverse for MCU right now.
Like that to me really kind of like sells it that there's going to be a bit of fucking Toby. He is Toby's boy, like, you know.
Yeah.
And there's like talks of him getting Spider-Man 4, like a Toby 4, but I have heard that Toby dies in Spider-Man 3, and I think that's going to be the kind of big epic finish, and then, you know, he kind of Tom Holland's character kind of develops then, and that's kind of his new kind of loss or whatever.
Tom Holland, Spider-Man just constantly wants to be losing somebody in his life.
his storyline always is kind of tragedy though, right? Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's Uncle Ben, or in the Andrew one, it was his parents. So I didn't really like that storyline. I think it's better when he didn't know his parents at all, and it was always kind of Aunt May and Uncle Ben. That was one thing that I didn't like about Andrew.
The thing about like what they ruined in that one with Andrew Garfield is like when you make his parents important to the story and to like the villains and stuff like that, then he becomes an important person. And that's kind of the beauty of Spider-Man, is that like he's not important. Like he's a random kid, you know, and like
York,
because he's just a random kid. Like you can put yourself into that. Like it's like, oh yeah, he's anybody. So that's why when I saw that, I was like, what are we doing here, bro? Like you lost the plot.
Yeah, this whole point is supposed to be like some average nobody, like wasn't really popular in school, wasn't like
he's a
focused
geek,
away
like,
from him.
Proper geek.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah, that's one thing I liked about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, like was definitely very close to the comics and stuff, and like it was a proper kind of origin for Peter Parker and everything. And then I think when the I don't know who directed the second ones. I think they dipped out of it a bit, but kind of I like the Gwen Stacy stories and stuff like that. Like I really liked her in those movies. Like I think that was kind of done as well. Like the 616 version is definitely the most kind of out there. It's like they've just really created their own thing and kind of gone.
Mark Webb did the Amazing Spider-Man.
Mark Webb, yes, that's right. I like the Amazing Spider-Man. I'm going to rewatch it soon. Before December, I've said to myself I'm going to rewatch every Spider-Man movie. So I'll have all the Tobys, all the Andrews, and into the Spider-Verse in full preparation for a full-blown live-action multiverse Spider-Verse coming.
I have to watch
Druggy, the second after I see this movie, I don't care if you've seen it or not, I'm just going to text you with a thumbs up or thumbs down, and then you just know.
I'm either gonna send you like I told you so, or you son of a bitch,
or $10 in PayPal.
Yeah, no, I really hope it's a you son of a bitch, because I just think it has to be this, like
a Captain America Fury bet going on right here. $10.
$10, I'll do it.
Yep.
100%. Like
I will
happily do this.
That's Meech hasn't seen Incredible Hulk, even though we skipped it. She doesn't really know.
Forget about it.
I have to show her the Ed Norton.
Retcon it.
I will say though, like since we skipped it, it is pretty amazing on how awesome it stands up when they barely mention the old movie.
Yeah.
And they make Banner really important to this movie before ever showing the Hulk. And I loved how they brought Ruffalo into it.
It was a very, very smooth transition. Like when you think about how disastrous that could have been, like changing actor kind of after the universe had begun. Like you had Tony Stark appear with Ed Norton on screen. You've got the Commander Ross or whatever his name is, the guy who's going to be like, he's now coming back again and is going to be kind of the main villain in Black Widow, and he's kind of always been obsessed with the super soldier serum. And I think that storyline, which was all about the Incredible Hulk film, was him trying to recreate the serum yet again, and then making Abomination or whatever his name was, and you know what I mean. Apparently, he's going to be in. I don't know if he's gonna. He's cast in She-Hulk, so they're bringing him back. So like, you know, they're really calling back to that movie, but without Edward Norton, and it's dangerous territory, I think. Like, you know, because you know you're referencing a movie that doesn't really work because it was a different fucking actor. Like, you know,
they did it, but they've done it. This is the second time they've done it though. They replaced Rhodes really well.
They had to.
Flawlessly.
They had to replace him, and I think, you know, everybody kind of just accepted that straight away, just because I think everyone kind of knew that they're all of these like contract shit and all, and they're just like, look, this can't work. We got to get rid of him. Like, and then I think even in the movie they did a joke about it, right? It's like, yeah, I'm here, just accept it or something, wasn't it? It's like, get over it. I'm here, get over it.
I'm here, get over it.
When we rewatched Iron Man 1, I was so happy that they did that recasting too, because I don't really have a problem with that actor, but he just doesn't deliver nearly as well in that role.
I don't know if I agree. I actually really like Terrence Howard. I thought he was really good, and I'm not a big fan of Don Cheadle either. Like, you know, I think as the movies are going on, he's like this might sound insensitive, but he actually kind of looks a bit ill or something. Like, I don't know if he actually is sick in real life or something, but
started off pretty old.
He looks
he's just aging.
He looks quite ill in these movies. He's very, very fucking thin. Like, I worry about him nearly, like, you know, because it's like he's very fucking thin. Like, he looks kind of ill, like, especially in Endgame and stuff like that. Like, and I don't know if it's like, maybe did they make him trim down because he lost the use of his legs or something like that? And then that would be like incredible method acting if so. But to me, it's just, I don't know. He just kind of seems real flimsy and stuff, and I would expect someone who's named War Machine to be kind of like jacked and, you know, able to take care of himself in and out of the suit, like, because he's got all of his military background and stuff like that, you know. So I don't know.
He's Air Force.
Well, even still,
the Chair Force. There's a reason we call him Chair Force.
Chair Force.
I would say, like, I think Terrence Howard played a better. He was more convincing to me as like a military person. I thought.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the Terrence Howard, like, he cannot play the way they have War Machine inside the MCU now. Like, Terrence Howard cannot make the jokes like Don Cheadle does. Like, it would have to be like a completely different character.
You have to be like
I'm on the
Savage.
fence on who I liked more, but
I think we would have got a more action-packed War Machine with Terrence Howard, more like booms
he's serious,
and
like,
blowing up.
he's much more serious actor.
Yeah, Terrence Howard's face is really serious.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I always kind of just, it really annoys me when I'm watching these movies and it's just like Don Cheadle's like Rhodey just like lives up fucking Tony Stark's ass. Like, you know, any way that Tony goes, he just follows. Like, he's just such a follower. Like, and like, I think Sam, it's a kind of a reason why I don't really like Sam as well. It's like he just kind of, he's the exact opposite, but just a cap. And it's just like, these guys don't do anything. They just stand beside the main hero, and it's just kind of boring. And I just always found the Rhodey character quite boring. It's like, especially with the Accords and stuff, it's like he was so like liberal about it and everything, and like, it was just like, you know, we have to do this, guys. Like, there's no way. And there's like, Tony agrees with him, and then it's like the second that Tony kind of starts changing his mind, Rhodey's like, yeah, well, we shouldn't have done it. Like, and I think Steve even goes like, you signed those, what are you talking about? Like, you know, it's just like, I don't know, he's just, he has no direction himself. He just kind of follows, and it's going to be very interesting to see where the character goes now that Tony's gone. So like in Armor Wars and stuff like that, it'll be very interesting to see what his character is going to be like, because he's going to really have to do a bit of kind of self-development, like the character, and it'll be kind of interesting.
So going back into the whole recasting situation, I was one of those people who was a little upset at the whole recasting between Mark Ruffalo and Edward Norton. You know me, Finto. I've told you before, I'm a huge Hulk fan, so I really enjoyed the aesthetic of the Incredible Hulk because of the way that they designed the Incredible Hulk's figure. He actually does look like a monster, whereas Mark Ruffalo's character looks a lot more like a strong man, in my opinion.
Mark Ruffalo, but they try to keep the Mark Ruffalo face to him.
Right. Whereas like when you see Edward Norton's Hulk, his face is completely different. It's a monster.
Yeah.
He's tough and he's ripped.
Yeah.
And he's crazy ripped.
And he had the purple shorts.
Yeah. And which you know, all those callbacks and whatnot, it made me shout, made me happy. But going into Avengers and then rewatching it and then reestablishing Hulk as a different looking character, it really brought out this whole feeling to me of like, I originally felt that Banner was scrawny. Banner was like a scrawny scientist, wasn't really like meant to be a guy who like had any sort of meat on himself. And then when they brought in Mark Ruffalo, I'm like, kind of looks a little tougher than he should be. But then in some of the comics, they kind of reference him as a little bit bigger. So I think I started getting used to it. And then after rewatching Avengers, I ultimately thought, you know what, Ruffalo fits well.
Yeah.
They actually have his hairstyle proper as well, like, you know, the way it's kind of like curled in the front. And and I also agree that this is like a second story for Hulk. It's kind of like reintroducing him into the whole story as a proper character. And it also shows that when it comes to Hulk, he is a character that needs to be manipulated in order to get the story driven. Because a lot of the things you see, like if you watch the animation, the leader is always trying to get him. Doom is always trying to manipulate him into doing stuff for him. Everyone wants his power. They don't care so much about Bruce. They just care about Hulk. And so that's why I really enjoyed this first movie, because it was just like subtly saying like, we need Hulk. We need Hulk here.
Yeah. Yep.
I think
that's a really great take, man. Like overall.
Yeah.
100%.
You can just tell that whole passion, bro. I love it.
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine walking into a college class and Edward Norton standing up front and getting ready to teach me, but I could definitely imagine walking into a college class and Mark Ruffalo's up there, and I'm like, all right, we're about to learn something. But like Edward standing up there, I just don't. I get more of the professor vibe out of Ruffalo.
What I liked about Edward Norton was just in real life, his commitment and his passion was kind of incredible. You know, he wanted to direct the movie, he wanted to star in the movie, and you know, he just got a bit selfish and wanted to keep control, which obviously wasn't going to fly with the whole story of the MCU. And at the time, I remember thinking like, shit, because I knew, like from the start, I knew how much of a fan he was. I think he was on JRE talking about it as well. He goes into pretty detail about like how he got the role and like how much of a fan he was, and you know, it's probably a good episode to listen to. But I remember listening to that at the time, going, oh yeah, like he's like, this guy's definitely meant for this role, and it was very dodgy that they were going to go in and recast. I remember thinking like, this could be fucking dreadful. This could kill the franchise, like, and I just don't know how they do it, bro. Like it's like even when you're watching these movies for the first time, you're nearly skeptical, but then it takes you like years to kind of see the vision the way that like Feige sees it. It's just it's insane. Like honestly, like I don't know how they do it. Like it's like when you think you're going to doubt them, they just come straight back out and just hit it out of the park. And like that movie is just it's just perfect in so many ways that, you know, that they can do something like recast one of the main 6 fucking heroes and just hardly talk about it and just get away with it. Like it's just crazy. It just shows how confident they are. Like it's nuts.
Yeah,
the transition was very smooth.
I thought Ruffalo did a really great job in his chemistry with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
I think they played off like each other very well. They like, there's obviously like something that was like very fun going on.
They're friends in real life though, right? And
I don't know.
I believe they are, and I think they've done movies, but previously as well. So they have both on and off camera chemistry together. So I actually nearly think that he got that job just through his relationship with Robert Downey Jr. And I think that's kind of what sold it on the screen, is the fact that the two of them were buds, like they were mates.
Yeah,
and they just came.
And they hit it all.
Yeah, 100%.
From the first line in the movie, he's like, "Oh, finally, someone that speaks English."
Exactly.
And then they go.
I love that.
Exactly. It's perfect. It's perfect. But there is elements of that like Edward Norton character that I liked. Like I loved that he had like the heart rate monitor on, and you know, he was counting down the days to the incidents and stuff like that. I thought that shit was really cool. Like I don't know, I'd nearly love to see that kind of redone. As maybe
they tied that in well.
Yeah, big time. Because like even when you first meet Ruffalo, and it's like, oh, you took me to the edge of the town because you don't want, because like, you're thinking like, you know, he's gonna kick off again, and obviously he's been counting the days and he's been in isolation, and he knows like, oh yes, Shield have brought me to the edge of town just in case I do kick off. Yeah,
Tasha goes, yeah, but you've been 2 years without incident, so we're chilling.
It's brilliant. Like it's good. Yeah, they did Zodiac. They were on Zodiac together. Yeah, that's correct.
Oh yeah. It's a Zodiac.
That was a good that was a good movie.
That is a good movie. Yeah, it's like I think the transition was good, but there are little elements that I like from Edward Norton, and I respect him as a person. Just the fact that he wanted to star and direct it, and had such a passion for the character that he felt that he could do both. And to be fair, the movie wasn't bad. I think he just wanted to keep control and couldn't. And again, it's all this behind closed doors shit, like the suit talk that kind of wrecks these things. Like, it definitely wasn't his performance. I think if we would still have Edward Norton as the Hulk if he gave over direction, he would still be there.
If he would have relented.
Yeah, he would still be there.
Maybe he overplayed his hand too. Like, he probably got caught word of what they wanted to do with the MCU. He's like, well, I already got one, so they're gonna have to keep me on no matter what. So I'm gonna push this, and they're like, nope.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll recast you, bro. You spend half your time as a fucking CGI monster, like.
Exactly. I feel like the CGI they did was a lot worse in his too. Like the green eyes, just the way the current Hulk, the way Ruffalo's Hulk looks kind of natural, and even like his green eyes look like Green Lantern eyes almost in the Incredible Hulk. So I don't know. I think little things like that too that were out of his control did hurt him.
Yeah.
It's the whole idea that with the Incredible Hulk, it's the radiation for that, like in that movie, like it's straight up all about the radiation. In the Avengers, it's just straight up all about Hulk. There's no mention so much about radiation whatsoever. So you're just like, it's just a Hulk.
True.
They're just like, oh, he's a gamma expert.
Yeah.
You mean
that's it. That's all they do. And I'm like, come on, man.
Can I bring you back to something really dumb about Avengers Campus that I found out from Disney?
Go.
All right, so there's a tree there that's like a regular tree, and it's next to the Spider-Man building. And then on that building, there's a like a spill off, like a kind of like a pipe that comes out, and it's spilling green liquid. And it says gamma radiation, is up. Anyways, so the tree next to that tree, basically where the runoff would be, they planted a different type of tree that looks like it's like hulked out a little bit. It's got like a lot of roundness to it.
Yeah.
And they sprayed it green, kind of. I'm just like, God damn it!
So cheesy, bro, but I love it.
Yeah. I just love like you said, that, and we're gonna go back in 3 years, and that tree is gonna be yoked, bro.
Yeah. Wearing purple shorts.
Angry.
Alex, talk for a minute about the Eric Bana movie. What did you think of that one? The 2003 one. God.
Honestly, man, like the first time I saw it, I was just happy to see a Hulk movie.
Yeah.
But after watching it again, and just kind of going over like the way that they were trying to design it, it just doesn't add up. Like, so they were really trying to do like a comic based movie style, which it just doesn't work, man. Like you don't have like 3 panels going by while someone's working on something and then like try to be like, oh, look at all this stuff while the important shit's going on.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. And
remember
also
how big he was?
Oh my God.
He was like the size of a fucking building.
He's like he was like
Godzilla.
Would grow in size. Yeah, he was growing in size.
Yeah, he was getting bigger as the movie went on. Like I think they made him angrier and angrier, and he got bigger and bigger. And I was like, this is fucking crazy. Like it got really silly.
It really silly, and the story does not make sense whatsoever. Like it's just. But oh my God!
It's an out there movie. It's from Ang Lee. Like that dude's like a legendary director. He tried something like crazy.
Yeah.
I appreciate his attempt. You know what I mean? Like
if you think like 2003,
he's the Evil Knievel of movies.
It's just kind of funny because in between Hulk were 2 like I think Academy Award winning movies.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you mess this up if you're so good at this?
Yeah, like you had before that movie, I think you had X1 and Spider-Man 1, like the first Sam Raimi movie, and those, like, for their time and even still today, those 2 movies are incredible, like comic book movies. And then it's like you've got like this fucking Godzilla style like Hulk movie. That was just a one-off, and then it was like, yeah, we're not doing any more of that.
You've got Eric Bana literally sitting there like, I'm so mad I'm a baby. And it's like, come on, dude. Like even Nick Nolte sat down in his chair after Eric Bana goes, no, and he goes, yeah. And I'm like, come on. Can't you make this guy like serious at least?
I don't like it. Eric Bana's not a bad actor either. Like, so I just don't know what the hell was going on there. You know,
he wasn't.
I I think it kind of highlights it's hard to have Hulk as the main character. He's not a great main character for a 2-hour movie. When you have like him just being Hulk most of the time, it's not great. Like it's hard to do, right? Like he makes other people's stories better. He's not. I don't think he's a main character.
And a temper tantrum gets pretty old after the first 10 minutes. That's all of this is proving.
I think Ruffalo has actually said Ruffalo has said this in interviews as well. He has said that, like, you know, he's very happy kind of staying in the role, staying in the position that he's in. Like, people have asked him, like, you know, do you want to do your own solo movie? And he's kind of like, yeah, like, I suppose I kind of would, but it doesn't really make sense. You know, he's very much so the brains behind the operation, and, you know, yes, he comes in when they need the heavy hands, but other than that, you know, like, and these two movies that we've seen, which were both kind of terrible, like, are prime examples. Now, if Kevin Feige was to get his hands on a Hulk movie, I'm sure it would be fucking great. You know, Feige can't do any wrong. But I just think, I don't know. I just think, well.
But I do.
Captain Marvel it was better this time around, though. It definitely was. The Skrulls kind of save it, I think.
Zack Snyder's the Hulk.
Yeah,
8 hours.
I want to see. I want to see Snyder come over to the MCU.
All over the place.
I want to see Snyder come over to the MCU.
You're crazy, bro.
Yeah, don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I would love it.
Have you seen Army of the Dead?
Yeah, it was great.
Hey, it got worse, didn't it, Drunky?
It's fun.
I told you, Drunky was like, I watched the beginning, it's alright. I was like, just wait, it gets pretty weird, bro.
Bro, that movie has so many fucking layers. When you go back, if you read about it after you watch it, you're like, holy shit, I need to watch that again. Because there's like fucking time loops and aliens and fucking robots and everything in it, bro. It gets crazy.
Those aren't layers, those are sprinkles.
There is robots.
There's no layers to those.
There is robots.
He doesn't address any of those things in there. He just sprinkles like, oh man, there's a zombie that's actually a robot. Let's not talk about that for the next 2 hours.
The blue glowing.
You don't talk about it at all.
Yeah, bro. The blue glowing, like, there's like 2 random zombies with blue eyes, and they have like blue magic that
They're
comes
zombies, bro.
They never talk about that.
They're the robots.
Yeah, no, but they don't address it. Like, why the fuck are there zombies? I would
well, you know,
why there are zombie robots.
You know,
why are we not talking about it?
You know, we're getting a second movie and a TV series, so it's like that whole universe is getting expanded.
Batista's gone. Unless they bring him back as zombie.
They don't need him. They don't need him.
Nothing.
They don't need Batista.
And like, oh man, when they open the thing up, there's zombies fucking everywhere. There's zombies everywhere, right? And then they're like, oh, well, they dry it out. You know, there's not going to be a lot of zombies unless it rains. Well, why did you bring that up? Unless it's going to rain in the movie. It never rains. So now you just have a whole place of not a lot of zombies. It makes no sense.
I don't know. I thought
we're making zombie jerky out here.
I thought it was a bit more realistic because I kind of hate zombie movies when there's like 100,000 zombies and they still manage to get away when there's a sea of them coming at them. So I kind of liked that, like, all the kind of zombies weren't around, but it was just all the alphas. I thought that was a cool fucking spin on zombie movies, to be honest.
I agree, but I feel like Zack Snyder, what he does a lot of the times with his movies, he loads a lot of guns and then he never fires them. So why are we have the guns? Like,
it's so true.
That's what really bugs me.
Yeah, there's the blue eye, bro.
That's a fucking metal face, dude. It's a metal face. Look at the.
I thought it was Captain America Planet Zombies. I didn't know that in the movie. I couldn't tell.
I'm saying that's awesome. That's awesome.
Terminator.
But like, let's do something with that. Let's do something with it.
It's coming.
Allegedly.
It's coming.
I'm tired of living in this world where everything's just coming. Like, that's weird. But I'm just saying.
I was like, out of context. It sounds weird.
But like, I would like them to like have full on just things that make sense within themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't know. I want.
So, yeah, that movie just Zack Snyder, and then he always tries to add these random moments where like he just goes out of focus and tries to be artistic for no reason. And like, are you trying to sell this screenshot as a Van Gogh or something later? Like, I don't get what you're doing. It's not creative.
I've definitely, like, you know, Zack's been in the news a lot lately, obviously with Justice League and now with this. Like, I've never seen a director in Hollywood that is absolutely adored or absolutely hated. It's such a 50-50 split down the middle. Like, people either fucking love him or they hate him. I'm definitely someone who, you know, I like his film style. I like the way he tells stories. I like the way he shoots them. I'm a big fan. And then there's people that just fucking don't like him. They just don't see any sense in anything that he does. It's just crazy. I can't think of many more directors that are like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, Sharky's right. 28 Days Later is the
best.
bar.
That is
the bar for zombie movies. Dude.
That's the best zombie movie ever made. Fact.
Yep.
28 Days Later. My boy Cillian Murphy.
Wait,
they just need to he needs to find a partner who is good at writing, who writes a complete story, and pair them together, because he does shoot beautiful movies. He shoots movies that I love watching them, like just in the sense of spectacle. Like he does great stuff.
Yeah.
He needs someone to hey Zach, we gotta rein this in. We gotta make this we gotta focus this up a little bit. And he would be making the biggest blockbuster. He'd be the Spielberg of our time, because he tries to do shots that other people aren't doing. He tries to do new things that other people aren't doing. It's just he's out there. He's just spiraling.
Yeah.
And we just need to pull him in a little bit.
He's trying to turn movies like 28 Days Later, or not 28. He's trying to turn movies into Army of the Dead, into theatrical experiences like Avatar, and it's that doesn't work here. Get yourself an Avatar movie and do that where it works, but stop trying to force that onto every one of your projects so that we can say this is a Snyder project. Do it where it makes sense.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make Netflix the home of this kind of movie / TV show / fucking this kind of crazy multi-platform project
Original.
that sits on one platform. And I think it'll work. It's like watching Dawn of the Dead and then going and watching The Walking Dead, and they're the same thing. They're the same story and stuff like that. And I just think it has the I want to see more. I want to see the prequel. I'm not really too interested in the sequel stuff. I want to see the prequel. I want to see how it happened. I want to see, you just presume that they're testing on a soldier, but obviously there's so much more going on, especially with that shot over Area 51 at the very start of the movie, and you clearly see two spaceships or two fucking UFOs just shoot off into the distance. So it's from the get-go I saw it straight away. I'm there's aliens in this movie, and then it's then they go down the whole road of the fucking robots and stuff, and I'm just holy shit. And then the bit with the guy who played Ghost on Power, when I was watching the movie for the first time, and he's talking about time loops and stuff, and I thought he's just one of these fucking spiritual idiots, and I was just oh, I'm not gonna listen to a word he says. He's one of these people, but then it's actually what's actually happening is they are stuck in a time loop. It's just fucking wild, because when you
they though? Are they?
Well, there's a video that I watched that I'll throw on the Discord. I'm not gonna play it now, but there's actually shot by shot comparisons done, and the clothes that they're wearing are the same clothes that they were wearing as they go into the mission. It's just old withered versions of your woman who's the pilot. You could see her kind of Hawaiian shirt, it's the exact same shirt but just aged and stuff like that. It seems what's happening is every time they go in to start accept and start the mission, that restarts the loop. But the version that we watch is the breaking of the loop, because Omari Chadwick gets bitten, and then he breaks the loop because he actually gets out, so he survives it. But then he's going to bring it to Mexico then, and that's what's probably going to start the sequel.
It sounds
but if
like
it's a
some
time
edgy
loop,
tomorrow.
why would they see the clothes from the last people?
Yeah. How are they in the other? Wouldn't they see
know.
piles and piles of bodies, and because then this would only be the second iteration of the time loop.
Yeah, but I think I think there's how it's I think, don't they find the maps and stuff, the prints? Yeah. And they're trying to blame it on the guy who works for the boss, and it's he actually doesn't know, because he's part of the loop himself. He's playing. You think he's playing dumb, but he genuinely doesn't actually know.
Yeah,
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm still, there's
Exactly.
There's still
It's not
a
good
lot.
movie.
There's
It's
still
a
a
fun
lot
movie.
of
It's not a good one. That's why you don't know. Because Zack Snyder, he's just tickling your balls the whole time. You know what I mean? He's that girl in high school, never fucking. He should just invite you over and be like, "Oh, hey, Finto, what's going on?"
Robot zombies
walk home
and
and be
aliens.
man, I think that's going somewhere. And I don't know. Was she a robot? I'm not sure. I guess I'll wait till next time.
He's an edgelord, bro. Like Drunky says, he loads the gun and he never pulls the trigger.
Blue ball in
You start to see the revolver rotate, but it never goes all the way. Screw you, Zack Snyder.
He's so close. He's so close.
I'm a fan. I definitely want to see what's next.
He's a fan of edgelords.
So speaking of never pulling the trigger, you guys saw the after credits, right, on Avengers?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
With Thanos. That upset me so much because I came to the realization that they had a proper plot to Infinity War and Endgame, but I guess they were trying to just kind of span it out. But like, it would have made more sense to have a Lady Death arc for Thanos coming in rather than
week, dude.
yeah. And it's ridiculous. Like when I thought about it, and I'm like, resources finite. You know, we need to cut the population in half. So if the resources are finite, then you're basically telling us that you're cutting the inevitable in half.
Yeah.
And like, so like it would have been so much better had it been like, I'm doing this all for my Lady Death.
Without Lady Death, there's the plot hole of why don't you just snap your fingers and make infinite resources if you're all powerful, idiot? Like without Lady Death, there's that loophole there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I never understood wiping out half the population, so I'm like, what? So we just like go one more generation and we're back? Like, what is this, Thanos? Like, we all just gotta fuck one time and then we're back at it.
But
like,
he's not around for that, so he doesn't give a fuck. You know?
Yeah. They really I don't know, and it could be because they want to sell to more worldwide audiences, and Death is especially Lady Death is in a lot of cultures. A lot of cultures, Lady Death, or like death in general, is something like. There's cultures that don't even like looking at skeletons or skulls or stuff like that. So you have Lady Death or something signifying death in itself. They reduce maybe potential buyers, and that's the only thing that I can think of that would stop them from having like a death incarnate in the movie.
I could definitely see that, man. Like, you know, it is very true that, you know, all these American companies pander to like China and stuff. Like, you know, Blizzard does it with World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Rainbow Six has done it with, you know, their stuff, taking casinos out and things like that.
Did you hear the Shang-Chi news that came out this week? I only kind of heard about this. I don't really know the kind of history of it, but one of the main dragons in that story, Fing Fang Foom, it's called. They're like censoring it down and not putting it in the movie because they think it's going to be too like kind of like exactly. And they're just scrapping it all together. And like apparently, again, I don't really know, but Fing Fang Foom is apparently the main dragon. Am I right in saying that? That's like the main dragon in the whole story.
Toys for him. They already have toys that
exactly
produced for him. And like I was saying the other week, like since we were saying that the 10 rings were supposed to be rings, but yet they look like bangles, the theory I had heard was that those are actually the rings from Fing Fang Foom, because on his toy, he's a dragon with actual 10 fingers. So it makes sense that those would fit on dragon fingers, and now you're going to take him out of it? Like,
Yeah,
or they're going to like severely like dumb it down or something. I don't exactly know what they're doing, but...
Take him in the shadows.
Yeah, so...
Lame.
It's kind of strange.
It was created in the 60s. Like, they didn't care. They're wild in the 60s.
There are no rules.
It was insanely racist, too.
Yeah. But, like, you know, in their brain, they're not even registering it as them being racist, right? Like, it's just them. This is the culture about how you make jokes and stuff and make characters. But that being said, like, bring it to the modern era, they're just censoring stuff that they already had written out and planned to put in this movie, and then they're just, like, taking it out because of China. It's just, like... It sucks, man. Like it completely sucks. Yeah. And I don't know where you come back from that, because like, what are we gonna do? Write letters to the manager of Disney? Like, they don't care, bro. They're trying to make a couple $1 billion.
Sure. Did you see they had to bring out who directed the first Doctor Strange? I can't remember who directed it, but Feige himself had to come out and like apologize for casting a white woman to play the Emperor Supreme or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
I mean, a lot of people were. I've heard about that for years. Like, there was no reason that they couldn't have just made it true to the comic books.
Yeah, but again, like, you know, you could have that argument about anything. Like, you know, like you cast a.
Are you talking about the ancient one?
Yeah, the ancient one. Sorry, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of people kind of not happy that they cast a white woman for that. You know, you can play that you can play that game all day. Like, really, like, you know, you cast a black man to play Nick Fury, like, you know, like, that's not a problem. Why is it a problem that they cast a white woman to play? Like, I'm not getting into this now, but you know, I never bat an eyelid at any of this stuff. Like, I think it's great that like Nick Fury's Samuel L. Jackson, like it's fantastic. It works perfectly. I like, you know, I'm never going to get hurt over the fact that it's not a white guy because it was a white guy in the comic books in 1940. Like, you know, move on. Like, you know, if they can play it one way, play it another way.
And I'll say this, like, when it comes to like the people that they cast, like the reason I never think about it is because Samuel L. Jackson is transformative. The way he plays Nick Fury is amazing.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton is an amazing actress, and she's transformative in that role.
Yes.
And, you know, could they have casted somebody? Like, for sure, they could have casted an Asian person. They could have casted anyone.
Yeah.
But I don't want, like, we shouldn't take away from what she did there because her performance was fucking great. Like, it was great, and I loved watching it, and I thought she played the Ancient One in a great way.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think if we get to that point where it's like, oh, well, we can't cast people that, like, it should be about the performance at the end of the day, not like who they are outside of the movie or anything like that. Like, if they deliver, they deliver. Like, we've seen plenty of movies where someone might have looked the part but then just done crap, you know? It doesn't matter. Like, the movies we remember are the performances when they're delivered and stuff. So
100%. Kitchen's called Fake Fight Food being replaced by Don Cheadle.
Yeah. Well, like with her,
Kitchen's on fire in the chat today.
When she first knocks his soul out of his body, like,
oh, that's amazing, bro.
Beautiful.
I love that shit. And she kind of flicks him, and then he just kind of off into the abyss. Like, I love that movie. It's great.
I really want Don Cheadle to show up with like 10 rings, and be like, "Hey, I'm here. It's not
now
a big
what?
deal. Let's move on."
Yeah. Now what?
Let's go. I'm a dragon.
Oh my god. I just want to put on, we're kind of breaking off from the MCU for a second, but I just wanted to show, I was talking about this earlier, I don't know if anybody saw it, but they dropped a really amazing teaser trailer for Shazam 2, and it's just one of the most clever things that I've ever seen, and I love
I love Shazam.
Zach Levy, like the guy who plays him, he's a really funny dude, and he's just really good, and like, this is just him in a nutshell. He's just such a really funny guy. Like, so hang on, let me just throw this on here. It's very short, but it's very funny. You're gonna get a laugh out of it. Check this out.
Why is it so dark? Probably would have been a good idea to have like one light on.
That's it.
That's hilarious.
Oh, he's such a legend, dude. It's like he just wants to, like, they want to show off the suit.
Suit looks good,
but you can't see it. It's so good, bro. Why is it so dark?
Pretty nice with the light in here.
I
really enjoyed Shazam. I never had heard of Shazam before that movie, but I enjoyed it.
Yo, Liam, there's fireplaces everywhere here, dude. Fireplaces all over the place. Cause is the best when it's just on a phone. It's fantastic.
The
What are you
AC
talking
bill
about,
for the
dude?
D team is huge. It's massive.
Yes.
That's not fun. That's a portable fireplace, bro.
Oh,
Paid a lot
sorry.
for that on Amazon.
Here, get that fire away from your computer, bro. It's freaking me out.
It's actually on my computer.
So look, I saw a video. I don't really like playing videos that are too long on the stream, but this video is, everybody I think is familiar with New Rockstar. They do like amazing kind of breakdown videos and stuff like that. This guy Eric Voss put out a video this week, and it's just all the evidence that they have for a Spider-Verse that it's coming, right? And I know you're always laughing. You're always laughing at me, right? But I think if you hear Eric Voss explain this, he can explain it way better than I can. I think you're gonna be in line. Wait till you watch this video, guys. Grab the popcorn. This video's like 5 minutes long. Well, there's an ad in the middle that I'll skip past it, but yeah, get ready, boys.
You need to publish your journal the day you watch the new Spider-Man, because that's gonna sell really nice.
I am actually, like, I'm not really a YouTuber, like, but I genuinely think I'm gonna record my reaction straight after the cinema, and I'm gonna actually fucking upload it because I'll want to talk about it fresh off my mind. Like,
You're gonna go talk with tears in your eyes?
Maybe, yes, very likely. Like,
I feel like on the wall we don't see in Finto's streaming room, there's a bunch of different Spider-Mans, like with like the red string, like all between them.
Like with Charlie Day.
Like your bat going crazy and Sunny. You know, he's like trying to tie it all together. Yeah, bro.
Like Charlie Day in the background.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire circled 85 times with a red Sharpie.
I wish I could do that in my sitting room. I wouldn't be able to get away with it. Okay, guys, here we go. Strap in.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and Spider-Man
Go
No
follow
Way
this
Home is
YouTube,
the most
please.
anticipated film of 2021, with fans caught in a perfect storm of studio blueballing and wishful speculation despite actor denials that they refuse to believe after this guy made us all watch him play with himself. Crazy and intentional. Rumor has it that joining this confirmed cast of Tom Holland, Peter Parker, Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange, Alfred Molina, Doc Ock, and Jamie Foxx Electro could be Sinister Six leader Willem Dafoe, Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, plus alternate Peter Parkers, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and why the hell not, the full cast of Knives Out too. Whichever of these unconfirmed reports you believe, is there even room in this movie for someone like Willem Dafoe, Norman Osborn? Even Sam Raimi was like, Jesus Christ, we gotta lock this guy in a mirror. Avenge me! No! So I'm gonna break down all the evidence pointing to how Willem Dafoe Osborn could tie into No Way Home's convoluted plot, and whether Sony's plan will leave us with some dirt in our eye.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
Sony recently announced that Aaron Taylor Johnson would be playing Spidey villain Kraven the Hunter in a solo film. Now, Sony executive Sanford Panich claimed that there is a long game for how they're gonna fold Kraven and Venom and Carnage and Morbius into the Tom Holland Spider-Man world, saying, quote, there actually is a plan. I think now maybe it's getting a little more clear for people where we're headed, and I think when No Way Home comes out, even more will be revealed. And that comes right after Total Film published their synopsis for No Way Home, reading, quote, past life baddies Electro, Jamie Foxx, and Dr. Octopus, Alfred Molina, are rumored to return to a bigger, broader Spider-Verse that's now reeling from Peter Parker's recent unmasking. They use the term Spider-Verse, though rumored is really the key word, and some would say we're already in a Spider-Verse, at least according to the whispers in my brain from that spider that crawled in my ear while I was sleeping. The latest rumors are that Willem Dafoe, Norman Osborn, Green Goblin will lead a Sinister Six team, but that's still unconfirmed. We actually conducted an in-depth investigation of the timeline of these live-action Spider-Verse rumors, but here's a quick summary. Gonna go through these fast. Chicken Sins came in home as the J. Jonah Jameson of the MCU after he already played Jameson in the Sam Raimi films, though Simmons said Sony wanted the characters to be two different people. Kevin Feige said after the legal wrestling between Sony and Marvel was resolved, quote, Spider-Man also happens to be the only hero with the superpower to cross cinematic universes, so as Sony continues to develop their own Spideyverse, you never know what surprises the future might hold. Producer of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Chris Miller, confirmed that they wanted cameos from Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield, but that Sony shot them down, saying it was, quote, too soon. Jamie Foxx was cast in No Way Home as Electro from the Mark Webb films, and then posted fan art showing 3 versions of Spider-Man together, and then deleted it. Doctor Strange was confirmed for this film right before Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness is going to come out. Movie directed by Sam Raimi, director of the Tobey Maguire trilogy, and Strange as the primary multiverse navigator of the MCU suggests the No Way Home plot could delve into something transdimensional. Alfred Molina was confirmed to return as Doc Ock, and then he later confirmed it will be the same version of the character from the
Finto
Sam Raimi
wrote this
Spider-Man
video
2,
script.
taken from, quote,
I wish I wrote
that
it.
moment of him drowning in the river. Sony Latin America posted and then removed a video with text translating to, who is your favorite Spider-Man? You don't have to choose. In the Marvel Multiverse, anything can happen. In Spider-Man 3, you will quite possibly see everyone. Yes, the 3 Peter Parkers saving the world together. And many YouTubers claim Sony hit their channels with copyright strikes for resharing this footage. Tobey Maguire was spotted in a wardrobe fitting in LA, despite some saying he has no known major gigs coming up, but hey, leave my boy alone. A DoorDash driver in Atlanta claims to have delivered food to Andrew Garfield, who might have been in town to shoot No Way Home, but then the driver took down those posts. Andrew Garfield's stunt double William Spencer post and then removed about being on set with Greg Townley, Tom Holland's stunt double, a Redditor who correctly predicted Julia Louis-Dreyfus would cameo in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but with an otherwise spotty record, claims a Tobey and Andrew Spider-Verse plot leak. Then what looks like crew merch for No Way Home comes.
This is the big one for me. This is official crew merch for the film, and that is Andrew's suit right there. You can clearly see it, and then that's a kind of Toby. That's like an official. That was like part of the Toby kind of, the one of the original like pressed things. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Comes out with a shirt showing Andrew Garfield version of the character, though some claim it was just taken from Google Images. But then also an official crew cup says save a planet instead of save the planet, which could tie into the title release video's tease of the alternate title Home Worlds being, quote, too boring. Sony and Disney come to an agreement to release future Spider-Man titles on Disney Plus, suggesting a stronger likelihood of sharing their IP. Andrew Garfield denied appearing in No Way Home on Josh Horowitz' Happy Sad Confused podcast, but many fans don't believe him, saying when he said, "I didn't get a call," was him speaking in a kind of code, and that his long rant about the game Werewolf casts suspicion on him, though you could just as easily argue that any experienced player of Werewolf, which Garfield seems to be if he brought it up, would know not to talk this much if you really are the werewolf. But before I continue, thanks to Bespoke Post for sponsoring this video. So Bespoke Post having a lot of veggie third time trade book.
And his advertisements are so long.
Working hard.
But fair play to him. Fair play to him.
He gets that big money, Bobby.
Big money.
What was that, a 3-minute spot?
Yeah.
Of scoopers, rumored plot leaks on check out. And really a never-ending cycle of scoopers, rumored plot leaks on Reddit and 4chan, and YouTube theories, and just all of these things referencing each other so much that it starts to feel like certainty, where no one trusts denials from Tom Holland or Andrew Garfield or Sony, especially in the wake of Marvel actors like Paul Bettany getting our hopes up for WandaVision.
Get to work with an actor, it's going to be a surprise
oh, damn you, Paul
for
Bettany.
everybody.
I think a live-action Spider-Verse is more or less confirmed based alone on Alfred Molina's interview and Jamie Foxx Electro from the Mark Webb films and multiverse master Doctor Strange being in this plot. But it is still unclear what exactly they mean by Spider-Verse. If that Sony exec's quote about this getting a little more clear for people where we're headed is referring to Alfred Molina's interview, or referring to the far more imaginative multiverse cameo rumors. Sony's plan could be some complex multiverse logic, like for portals to open up and spit random live-action cameos now in the MCU, similar to what we saw in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or Sony's plan could be to follow what they seem to be doing with J. Jonah Jameson and suggest that these characters are just already part of the MCU history, with similar backstories as what we saw before, but just with the new Spider-Man. But I gotta wonder, why else cast Doctor Strange in this if not to explain complex multiverse logic? He snapped at Tony Stark in Avengers Infinity War saying that his mission was
protecting your reality, douchebag.
As if there are other realities out there. And Peter Parker is super ready for a multiverse plot.
I'm sorry, you're saying there's a multiverse? I mean, that completely changes how we understand the initial singularity.
But we should also remind ourselves that we have yet to see this Peter's origin story. Only that there was an Uncle Ben, and that the spider that bit Peter is dead, and that the bite happened 6 months before Civil War. And I would not be surprised if Sony still intended to connect that origin story to Oscorp, as was their plan in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, a movie that was not exactly fully scrapped considering they've brought back a lot of those plot points in future movies. The biggest one now being Jamie Foxx Electro. And now in the MCU, based on the Oscorp-looking tech supplied by the Power Broker and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I would love for Norman Osborn to be one of Sharon Carter's arms dealers, or maybe the mystery buyer who was trying to get Hank Pym's tech in Ant-Man and the Wasp. But remember, a Spider-Verse does not automatically mean Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will appear as well. It is totally possible for this No Way Home Spider-Verse event to apply only to past villains, like maybe they're the ones with No Way Home after a multiversal crossover crisis. So while I selfishly want to see those two in this film, I will be not at all surprised if they don't appear. Whatever fan theories get confirmed or debunked, I have been burned by the hype train too many times to know to just be grateful for whatever comes. To support this channel, check out one of our great merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com.
God, he makes a lot of good points. A lot of good points. Like,
one thing,
if that doesn't get you hyped, guys, like seriously, like that is, like, even if it is just Sinister Six, but they're all from like Raimi verse and Amazing Spider-Man verse, like it's still going to be just a mind-blowing movie, and that's confirmed. So it's just the if is if we're getting the Spider-Man in it or not. You know, that's the if.
One thing kind of unrelated to Spider-Man, but it was in that video. Paul Bettany I saw recently was in an interview where he was talking about how him and Kevin Feige both grew up during when White Vision really had his original run in the comics, and it was a big part of their childhoods. And he said, while like Vision's gone, he's like, I can't. He pretty much was saying like, I can't confirm if they're going to use me again, but it makes it sound like they had a lot of talks before White Vision ever came up about White Vision.
Yeah.
So I think he's definitely coming back as White Vision at some point.
I heard Bettany said very recently that he actually doesn't have a contract at the moment.
Yeah, he said that it was the same interview. He was like, I don't have a contract, but we've talked about White Vision, how it was big in our childhood, and they talked about it a lot.
They gotta bring him back.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just that Vision's probably going to be gone from the MCU for quite some time. Do they really have a story to tell with them for the next like 2 or 3 years? Probably not.
They might use him in some way because I feel like he's kind of in that like people are going to want to see the Paul Bettany version though. They're not going to want to see someone else. So how much time do you have to use Paul Bettany before he ages out of the role?
There's a reference in Spider-Man 2 because it's funny where we are in the MCU right now. Spider-Man 2 still actually hasn't happened, which is wild. And there's a reference in Spider-Man 2 that says I think they make a reference to the fact that there's no Avengers anymore. They're like, where the fuck are the Avengers? Like, so obviously wherever Vision goes, it's going to be next year that we find out, because even Spider-Man 3 takes place directly after Spider-Man 2. It's a direct continuation, like same day.
Right.
It takes up exactly like where the other movie left off. So, yeah, I think it's interesting to know that even like into 2022, we're still not going to have a clue or see Vision again unless he's actually in Spider-Man 3, which I don't really see him coming into it, because unless there's like a reformation of the Avengers to tackle the multiverse or something like that. That's the only way I kind of see him coming into anything else this year. I don't really see him showing up in Shang-Chi. That doesn't make any sense really, or Black Widow either, because Black Widow technically has already happened before Spider-Man. So
yeah, we need some forward momentum here in the timeline. Like we got
well, like we saw Spider-Man 2 at the end of 2019, and that movie still hasn't happened yet in respect to Black Widow, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki and everything, WandaVision, everything. Like
I wonder when Eternals takes place.
I believe Eternals was meant to come out directly after Endgame, so I think it's actually after Endgame as well. And then Deadpool 3 takes place during Endgame, so like we're still stuck in that time. It's kind of it's crazy. Like
it's place for 4,000 years, Drunky. Gosh, they told you in the trailer.
yeah, they're 7,000 years old. But,
there's a really weird time in the MCU where it's like we're just kind of spinning our wheels a little bit.
I just think like Endgame was just such a pivotal event that even actual years later we're still stuck in it. Like our time years later we're still stuck in it.
Watching all these movies in order, watching all the MCU movies in order shows us like how much we're pushing forward each movie too to be in this position where we're doing a whirlpool, kind of just floating in circles.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is for sure. Hang on, I just want to see, do I have any other little notes here to talk about? Did any of you guys watch? Actually, sorry, just to talk about Hulk for 1 second. So apparently Ruffalo was actually he was seen on set of She-Hulk. Like, I know that was kind of rumored that he was going to be in it, but apparently he was officially seen on set shooting scenes. So he's 100% going to be in that. So that's kind of cool.
That's cool.
And then I think Eric Voss kind of touched on it in his video, but they've like pretty much confirmed Sinister Six is going to be in Spider-Man 3. So all kind of picked out of different universes. So, and Defoe is meant to be the main villain according to what people are saying. Did you guys watch Jupiter's Legacy?
I've watched the first 4 episodes so far.
Yeah, I haven't watched too much of it.
It got cancelled this week. It got cancelled this week.
I heard that,
bro. I'm so upset because
No,
I actually would recommend watching it because I think people need to watch it. From what I understand, Netflix threw like 200 million at the show, and I think they got a look at the first analytics of it, and it was fucking awful. And they just kind of pulled the plug straight away. Now I know Mark Miller has an entire kind of Millerverse planned for this kind of series. It's a comic book series, and I think what they're planning to do is do a show that's going to be based on some of the villains that were introduced in the show itself, Jupiter's Legacy. But they've actually like cancelled all the contracts for the main heroes, so there's no plan for them to come back yet. Now, Miller did say it's possible down the line that they could bring them back, you know, in drips and drabs, but like the show was great. I loved it. Like you know, the CGI in it was shit. The suits weren't great, but it's not that type of show. Like the show is very much a character building show, and it's all about flashbacks in the 1930s, like, and then it's set, the current time is set 100 years later. But like the acting was great in it. I loved the development. I loved the mystery behind how they got their powers. Every episode ends with a big cliffhanger, and you just want to watch more. Like me and my girlfriend, I think it was like 10 episodes or something, or 8 episodes. We watched it in 2 sittings, like easy, bro. Smashed through it, easy. So yeah, that was really sad news for me this week. Like I really liked it.
That kind of shows where superhero stuff is right now. I think there's a bit of superhero fatigue where it's like, I didn't watch Jupiter's Legacy at first because I was like, it's another superhero show. I didn't think it looked that great because their costumes look amazingly corny to look at. And so I think it's something where, like, you know, Hollywood, if they want to keep producing superhero stuff, they have to take a step back and say, like, oh, like, superhero isn't really a genre. You know what I mean? Like, superhero should be used to fill in other genres. Like, we want to make this type of thing and we'll use superheroes in it, versus we just want this to be a superhero thing. That's how we're going to sell it hook, line, and sinker. Because it looked bad, bro. It looked bad from the trailer, from the promotional art, everything else I seen. I wasn't going to watch it, and then I gave it a chance, and then the first episode, I absolutely adored it. I love the characters they put in it. I love the story, the family that they were building, the kind of little cliffhangers they were leaving on, like, you know, like, oh, we see this person now, and they have a better relationship, but in the past, there's a little turmoil. What does that mean? Yeah. Like, I love the way they set stuff up. I haven't finished it. I'm only 4 episodes in. Maybe it gets worse, but
no, it gets better. It gets better, dude.
Like 200 million? Like, where did they spend that money? 200 million?
I don't know. Apparently, a lot of money went into advertising and press and all this stuff, and I saw fucking nothing. Nothing reached Ireland on that show.
I didn't feel like I saw anything either.
I didn't see anything. I don't know where it goes. The main actor is he's a big actor as well. Josh, whatever his surname is, like, he's a pretty big actor. He was in like Transformers and all that stuff. I presume it was probably quite a lot of money to lock him into like a potential multi-seasonal thing. And I think, like, I don't know, like, there was a good few cast members in that were pretty big actors and stuff. I don't know. I don't know where the money went. I think Netflix were probably a little harsh on it because the show is very, like, it's a very well put together show. It's very intelligent. I think the problem that a lot of people had for it, and I didn't really feel this myself, but I'm very much a kind of binge watcher. Like, you know, if I start something, I'll definitely finish it unless it's awful. But I found, like, what a lot of people were saying online was that there was no flashbacks in the first episode. The first episode is very much just about the current times, and not to really ruin the story on anybody, but it's quite similar to Invincible in a way that, like, the dad in the show, his son kills somebody at the end of the episode. He kills a villain, but they have like a Justice League code of no killing, like Batman. You know, their rule is no killing at all. And at the very end of the first episode, the son ends up killing somebody to save his dad's life. He kills a villain, and then that's what kind of anchors the main storyline in the future. It's kind of set in 2030 or whatever, and there's no kind of reference to the past, but it's only when, like, it kind of only, the past storyline only kind of warms up like episode 2, episode 3, and that for me is when the show really took over. I became like obsessed with it. I was dying to watch the next episode, and I just think if you were to watch the first episode of that, you might not think, because the CGI was kind of bad, the suits were kind of laughable, and I think if you watch the end of that first episode, you're kind of like, yeah, whatever, I'm not going to watch any more of it. I think that's what happened. I think a lot of people dropped off after a poor premiere. And I think the intro episode should have definitely had some sort of a flashback to get that intrigue in, to make people go, actually, how did they get the powers? Because when you shoot back to 1930, which by the way is 100 years ago, and he only looks like he's aged about 15 years, but he's actually like 140 years old. It's like, how did he get the powers? Where did the powers come from? How do they all get their powers? And how is he not aging? And blah, blah, blah. It creates all these questions that as the show's going on, you're dying to find out. But I think that's where they fucked the show up, because they didn't do any of that in episode 1. And I think a lot of people watched the first episode and then went, nah, shit CGI, shit costumes, fuck this, I'm out. I'm going to go back to watching... I'm going to go back to watching Friends for the 15th time, like, you know.
They had a reunion recently, okay?
Yeah, but I just think, like, you know, that's where they fucked up on that show. And, like, I loved the story of his kids. Like, his daughter is very much, like, rebellious to the whole, she doesn't want to be a superhero, and she's, like, a model. She's living off the fame of being the main guy's dad, or, like, being her, like, his daughter, like, and, you know, she's, like, on drugs, and she's, like, into fucking like partying, and she's a model and all this stuff, like, and it's very kind of real world what would probably happen if you have like the kind of like misbehaving child, like, who's a fucking superhero. She's gonna go off and do whatever the fuck she wants, like, you know.
Right.
Whereas the son is very much toeing the line. He's the Robin, like, you know, Robin to Batman, and, you know, he just wants to be his dad so much. He wants to take over the mantle when his dad goes and stuff. And I don't know, I just loved it, man. I just thought it ticked like all the superhero boxes for me. Like, even if you go back and watch like season 1 of the Umbrella Academy compared to season 2, like, they big time bumped up the budget for CGI and stuff. So when I finished watching that series, I was like, yeah, you know, they could have worked on things like costumes and all that, but I think the purpose of the first season is to tell the story. Season 2 will be more about CGI and battles and all this sort of stuff, and they'll beef up the fucking suits. Well, now this is what I thought after I watched it, but now it's like, I don't know where it's going. But yeah, that was a bit of bad news I heard this week. I didn't. That was a bit of a shock to me, and it was a bit of an upset.
Netflix, who like Netflix, they canceled it themselves then, because
yeah.
I feel like they have enough money that they could just be like,
Well, Netflix have a business model where they kind of just take a chance a lot of the time. They'll like pump a shit ton of money into something like Stranger Things, and it's like fucking money at a wall. Or you know, you throw an idea at a wall, whatever sticks, and if it doesn't, that's it.
I remember
on to the next.
I think it was like a couple years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, there was like a statistic that no Netflix original had less than 3 seasons or something.
That's always the rule. 3 was the rule. The rule of 3.
Yeah.
And then Stranger Things is one of the only shows that has gone into season 4. Like, if you think back of all of their originals, it's 1 season limited series, or 2 or 3, and that's it. Like, you know, Luke Cage got 2, Jessica Jones got 3, Daredevil got 3.
Maybe something changes.
Punisher got 2. Like, you know, it's 2 or 3 usually, and like Stranger Things seems to be the only one that's kind of gone into season 4.
Power of this podcast is going to get enough views on Jupiter's Legacy. We're going to get a season 2.
Yeah, I think so. I think this video is going to hit like 100 million views easy. Yeah, no, I actually do. Like, guys, if you haven't watched it, definitely I recommend watching it.
I've got to watch Daredevil first. Grow up.
No, yeah, you really do. You really got to watch Daredevil.
Dude, I'm so excited for Loki. I'm so excited.
I think Loki's going to be amazing. And
next Wednesday.
I love that it's on Wednesday, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to watch it. I'm going to watch it like twice. I'll probably let it settle the first time. I'll throw some stuff up on Discord, kind of maybe first thoughts, and then maybe on Thursday night or something. Or I don't know when I'll do it. Maybe I might just throw it up on Discord and watch it if anyone wants to kind of watch it with me or something. Might do a little kind of watch party, and we can kind of discuss it again then a second time, and then we'll do the podcast on Friday or something.
I'm hoping we're getting minimum 45-minute episodes every episode. Minimum, please.
Oh yeah, could you imagine like 6 1 hours? Oh, bro, like 6 hours.
And like
so
them doing that finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then not even being like a smidge long, not being the longest episode. Like, don't fix that, bro.
I think
please.
How many episodes was Falcon again?
7, maybe? Was it 7?
I think it was 10. I thought it was 10. I thought it was 10. I think it was 10 because it wasn't.
I don't know.
Wasn't Wanda meant to be 10, but it was 9. And then I thought Falcon was meant to be 10, but it's still only like equated to like 6 hours or a little less than 6 hours. I might be wrong with that. I'm pretty sure it was 10 though.
It feels short because they did do like 30-minute episodes.
Exactly. So I know this is 6 episodes, but I wonder is it going to be to like tie up with the time?
That, it was only 6 episodes. It was only 6 episodes.
Oh,
for
Falcon was 6? Okay.
Yeah, One World, One People
Okay.
was the last episode, episode 6.
Ugh. Yeah, so I think I think like if it was six 1-hour episodes, I'd be so happy with that. I would be so happy with that.
Yep.
It'd be great. Yo, Limey, what's up? Welcome.
That's crazy.
It should finish up right before Black Widow starts up, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that actually because
Black Widow release date.
I'm pretty sure they don't want the movie to overshadow.
Yeah, that feels like it should be right because
July 9. About
it's at least gonna be 5 episodes. So.
Well, I think Loki's 6 episodes, so that's kind of strange because the first was on the 9th. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it goes.
That'll be past. It'll be over.
Because like if you remember as well, like Black Widow was meant to be like first in the timeline,
already out,
like before, like way out. Like we're meant to have seen that movie a year ago. So I don't think
we're meant to have seen.
We
do all the backtracking.
I don't think I don't think it's close. I don't think it's close at all to the actual timeline. So I don't think it would make a lot of sense. Like I think we'll be 5 episodes deep, and then we'll have Black Widow, and then we get the season finale of Loki. And
I think it kind of makes sense. We're already in the mindset of like we have old Loki, Avengers 1 Loki here. He's gonna be doing some time traveling to other. We're already in the mindset of not current MCU, not really necessarily adding on to the story, but giving you more depth and viscosity to what we have so far. That and I will say the Avengers 1 rewatch got me a lot more stoked for Black Widow. Like my hype for Black Widow wasn't that high. Watching this Avengers 1 got me actually hyped for it again. Like she has a lot of good scenes in that. Her her interrogation with Loki, like she had a lot of good
I love the
scenes.
very
So good.
her very first scene in the movie where she's tied to the chair is just brilliant as well. Where she's just like, he's like, I'm getting everything here. Can you give me a few minutes? They're like, what? What are you talking about?
He goes, I don't give everything.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Go ahead. I just want to say, it seems like it's going to tie up at the end for Loki. At the very least, they're going to have to bring that Tesseract back into the Avengers 1 scene because you see afterwards that they use it to teleport. So he's gonna have to it's probably gonna end with him going back somehow with the and have the Tesseract there.
Do you think? Because I don't really. I was thinking more so that something's gonna happen that's gonna make him change the timeline for good, and then that kind of brings Loki back into the timeline. Because if he goes back and fixes the original timeline, he's gonna die during Endgame or Infinity War, and it's like I don't think that's going to happen. I think he hangs around as a character. I think that's where it's going to go.
At the same time, they're giving Black Widow this entire movie, and she's definitely not coming back. Like she's dead, so they're not adverse to putting out this content for characters that don't necessarily have a future.
True, but the character of Black Widow will hang around. It's just not
the mantle.
It's the mantle will be there, but it's not her. So
I don't think the same can be. Yeah, but they can't do that with Loki really. So unless they do what you're saying, I feel like both of those options are very viable. Like they could be putting out content where it's just like this is fun content for Loki's backstory, and he's gone.
Yeah. What I wonder as well, I've heard people talk about it, and it's interesting. It's like I wondered, is there any the version of him from the end of Avengers 1, he obviously jumps off and then he starts bouncing around timelines and stuff like that. I wonder, does he reappear in any of the other movies that we've seen as the TV show Loki, if that makes sense?
Is he going to be the new Stan Lee cameo? Loki's just everywhere?
He could be. There could be like multiple Lokis as well. Like it could be like a Loki verse,
Mm-hmm.
Yes or yes. So yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know which direction the show is going to go in. I really love the idea of Loki becoming like an all-knowing being, like a Spectre, like for the MCU, because he's seen the entire timeline, and I really think that like is just great. And then he kind of knows where to dip in and out of, or if he actually has some sort of access to like timeline hopping or something like that, or time travel, and then he can just start kind of popping in and out. and it's like he's trying to like fix things or change things or something like that. I don't really know.
I don't know.
Yeah, because like
I don't want to get myself too sold on things anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
I agree with that.
I'm just like,
I'm 100%. Let's just fucking see what happens. Let's watch it and see what happens. But
Yeah.
I do love theorizing a lot. Like, but at the same time, we will never be burned again like we did in WandaVision. Never.
Right.
Never. Yeah, that's it, guys. We're just about to hit the 3-hour mark. I think. Are we? Or 2 hours 40 on
That's
this
a pod.
actual recording on the pod. I think that's pretty nice ending point right there.
We are ready.
It's
we
a
are
beef.
ready for Loki.
We are
prepped.
ready. We are ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When we meet here next week, I will have watched Loki twice, as I presume a few of you may have as well. So.
And I will have a couple episodes into that's Deadpool.
I need the whole thing binged.
Yeah,
God, I need it all binged by next week. Thank you.
I would like you to be close to the end of season 1, just so we could get a proper kind of feel. Like, you know, you've dipped the toe in. You know, you're in love with Matt Murdock now. You know, you think he's an assassin. You think he's a fucking beast. You love his superpowers, and and you're obsessed with fucking Kingpin. That's where I want to be. That's where I want to see you next week.
All right.
Real quick, do we want to hold off on watching our next in the timeline of MCU movies?
I think so.
And just do all Loki next week?
Yeah, I think so. Because I actually think, like, if we're talking timeline, I actually think we're in an alternate timeline, but also the correct timeline, if that makes sense. Because if we're just following Loki now, so let's say we've watched everything so far, but we're just thinking about Loki, we're actually following Loki, and we're gonna just put the rest of it on pause for the moment. And then when Loki's done and we see where he ends up, then we know we can go back. We can go back and watch. Jesus, I don't even know what's next. Is it Iron Man 3? Yeah, Iron Man 3 is next.
Yeah.
So
Iron Man 3.
We can go back and watch Iron Man 3, and then when we will go back and watch Iron Man 3, because we're gonna have like obviously 5 episodes of Loki, so that's 5 weeks of the podcast. Then we'll have probably a week on Black Widow. And potentially a week that might do like a duo week with another episode of Loki as well, because we'll probably have one of each, so that'll be a packed one. Just kind of talk about current stuff. Then we'll have the end of Loki, and then I don't think we have that long to wait until we get Shang-Chi. Is it like 2 months?
Yeah.
So we could probably watch like another 8 movies in the series. We still won't be finished the full playthrough even when Shang-Chi comes out. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, we've got loads of content to go through.
I love it.
Hell yeah.
I was trying to look where Black Widow lands. They're saying Black Widow takes place after Civil War. The movie?
Yeah, so I thought it was after Infinity War, in the 5 years of the blip, which would have made sense. But apparently, yeah, it's when, you know, when Steve and Sam go on the run for 2 years, and she goes back to Europe, and that's when it takes place.
Gotcha.
So it's after Civil War. So
everybody splits up for a while.
Yeah, and that's when Sharon Carter goes on the run as well for giving the guys back their suits and weapons. So that's where that kind of takes place. So yeah, it's an interesting timeline when you try and do it like time stamping it. It can get a bit messy, but it makes a lot of sense, and it's great to view it that way.
The way we've been viewing it, I feel like it shouldn't be viewed any other way. I've enjoyed it so thoroughly. Like, I'm not someone that likes watching movies over and over again.
And what's crazy as well is, like, by the time you finish watching it this time, the next time you go and do it, if you do it in the same order, you'll actually have more movies to watch. So after you watch Civil War, you'll watch Black Widow next, and then you'll go into Infinity War. So
That's
it's like
crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's crazy. And then as well, when you get Deadpool 3, you're gonna have like a movie that's like part of Fox technically, but it's gonna take place during Infinity War and like Endgame. So technically, I think Deadpool 2, someone was saying if you were to drop it into the timeline, Deadpool 2 would take place right before the snap. And then Deadpool, like, Wade thinks that he fucked up the timeline. So during those 5 years, so you'd watch Deadpool 3 technically in between Infinity War and Endgame, and then the end.
Spider-Man, like you said, hasn't even happened yet. It's all
exactly, yeah. It's like Spider-Man came out 2 years ago, and that movie hasn't even happened yet in the timeline. So like, even after everything that's still coming out, you still have to throw Spider-Man 2 at the very end. Yeah, exactly.
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, it's nuts, bro. Like, the timeline is all over the place, but it's fantastic.
MCU is spoiling us, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, bro, like, it's like around like 2017, like just after Civil War. I think it was Civil War, and then we had Spider-Man 1, and then we had Doctor Strange, Infinity War, Captain Marvel, Endgame, and they were all in the space of like 2 years. Like so many movies, like, and it was just every 6 months, and Ragnarok was in there as well. So it's like every 6 months there was blockbuster. It was just insane. And now we've gone 2 years with nothing. Like, it's kind of crazy. Almost 2 years with nothing. It's pretty wild. Like when you see Spider-Man 3, it'll be 2 years since you've seen the last like kind of MCU like cinema movie apart from Black Widow and Shang-Chi. But like, I mean, in the current timeline, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. Guys, thank you for being here. You're legends.
Hey, you having me?
I had a marvelous time, everyone. It was marvelous.
I enjoy these chats so much, guys. These are, at the moment, I'm in a bit of a stalemate when it comes to gaming. So like, for me, this is the highlight of my week streaming wise. Like this, for me, this is the content. Like, I need a new game. I need a game to play. I hate Fortnite.
I could do another 3 hours with your buttery voice. That's all I'm saying, Finto.
Ooh.
I'm actually, well, I think I'm going to play some Rust now because our server, the D Team server, got wiped, so it's a blank slate. Oh. And I was thinking, because I always like in the private server just to kind of make like crazy builds. I try to get creative with the builds. So I was thinking of making a giant dick as my house of this one, because I want to see how many stories, how high we can go. So I was thinking of building like a big shaft, so like a big like 1x1 or 4x4, and then I'll have like two
collecting brick materials.
I'll have 2 rooms, like 1 to each side, and they'll be the balls.
Your storage room is the ball.
That's what I'm gonna have. My
ball, Bronxy gets the right ball.
Hey, if someone wants to stay in the right ball, they can. 100%. That's the guest house, guest ball. All right, dudes. Thanks so much for being here. You guys are amazing.
Thanks so much.
Later, boys.